Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Dear guests of honor, Dr. Waqar Masood Khan sir, Mr. Asim Rauf sir, Coordinator General Comstech, Professor Dr. Muhammad Iqbal Chaudhry, technical focal person for this seminar, Professor Dr. Muhammad Wase. Assalamu alaikum. Dear distinguished resource persons and participants, I would like to welcome you all today to this international seminar on pharmaceutical manufacturing in OIC member states, its status and the future. This seminar is jointly organized by Comstech and Pakistan Academy of Sciences. We will formally begin the session with the recitation of the Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان. الشمس والقمر بحسبان والنجم والشجر يسجدان. والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان ألا تطغوا في الميزان وأقيموا الوزن بالقسط ولا تخسروا الميزان. صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakallah. I would like to now invite the technical focal person for this workshop to give a brief introduction to what we will be covering today. Professor Dr. Muhammad Wase, who is a Comstech Distinguished Scholar and Professor of Neurology at the Aga Khan University. Please, sir.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So first of all, I would like to thank our chairs and co-chairs and guest of honors, Professor Dr. Waqar Masood Sahab, Asim Rauf Sahab, Iqbal Chaudhry Sahab, and the Comstech for organizing this seminar. This is an important seminar in Pakistan Academy of Sciences is planning to organize this seminar for last 6, 7, 8 months. And it's very important because pharmaceutical manufacturing in Pakistan is very good, and we need to improve it to a very high standard. Pakistan has a huge burden of non-communicable and communicable diseases. About 50% of the population is suffering, and there's a huge demand of medications across the country. And not only Pakistan has a good manufacturing practice for pharmaceutical industry, but we are also exporting part of pharmaceutical products. We are still, importing a lot of pharmaceutical raw material from China and other countries, which is about $600–700 million. And this is something which has a large import bill on our part. And this is something which can be done in Pakistan. So what we are thinking that, across the OIC countries, we should develop a mechanism that we should be developing our own pharmaceutical raw material so we could decrease the import bill. And number two, we should be able to produce a much better, much wider variety of medications in Pakistan so we could export it to OIC countries, African countries, even neighboring countries. So we have a huge export potential, up to like a multi-billion dollars in terms of pharmaceutical export. So this pharmaceutical manufacturing seminar is unique because now we are combining in this session policymakers, the regulatory authorities, drug drape, we have involvement of the academia, we have involvement of the Ministry of Health, and we have involvement of industry and business perspectives, so business people. So this is like the first of its kinds of seminar where we have put together everyone under one roof and one table that we could discuss that how could we improve pharmaceutical manufacturing in Pakistan, how could we diversify, and how could we decrease the import of raw material from Pakistan and improve the production and export. We are still importing a lot of medications like insulin, for example, is a very common medication which we are not able to produce in all quantities. Pakistan has a huge burden of diabetes and other medications. And we need to be innovative also. So there are now many medications in the polypill form, which Pakistan should be able to start making, and that could reduce the cost to the patient, and that could improve the quality of life for the patient and decrease the burden. So these are very important issues. And hopefully, with the help of Drug Regulatory Authority, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Food, and other ministries, and with the regulators and the manufacturers and the investors, hopefully we will be able to make and create an environment where we could improve the pharmaceutical manufacturing in Pakistan. So again, I would like to thank all the participants across OIC countries and our guests, and hopefully this seminar will translate into policies and will translate into something which is good for not only for this country, for the people of this country, and for the patients, and for all the OIC countries. So again, I like to thank all the speakers and all the participants, and hopefully we will convene again and again till we are able to achieve our targets. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your remarks. Up next, I would like to invite the Coordinator General of Comstech for his welcome address, His Excellency Professor Dr. Mohammad Iqbal Chaudhry.
Sorry. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, in-person participants, as well as we have people online also. And we're absolutely pleased to have someone of the stature of Professor Dr. Waqar Masood Sahab, certainly the top financial expert of the country. Without any doubt, he represents excellence of Pakistan in the field of economics and financial management. So we are absolutely delighted to have you, sir. His presence means a lot to us because he has direct approach to the central core policies of Pakistan, and certainly what we would be able to present to him, I'm sure that this would be noticed. We have with us Mr. Asim Rauf, again a very competent Chief Executive Officer of the Regulatory Authority of Pakistan. He has been the core pillar of Pakistan's pharmaceutical and drug policies, and we are very happy to have you, sir, in Comstech. And of course, my very dear brother, Professor Dr. Wase, top neurologist at Comstech, distinguished speaker. Along with this, we have very prominent molecular biologist, a person who is working in the understanding of diseases which are prevalent in Pakistan, Professor Dr. Shahid Bey. So all of you, that we are here to discuss, as has been mentioned by Professor Dr. Wase, the key problems the pharmaceutical sector of Pakistan faces today. We can easily compare that our pharmaceutical manufacturing and export is certainly much lower than the neighboring countries, but our quality is certainly not so bad, and in this, DRAP has played a very important role. So it is an important indication that we have good quality, but we need to troubleshoot issues which are related to pharmaceutical manufacturing and to export it to a very large level. I just have 4 submissions, sir. I was chairing a committee which was constituted by Planning Division, Planning Commission, Higher Education Commission, and PIDE, Pakistan Institute of Development Economics on pharmaceutical. And we have identified one key factor, which is which is the major impediment in the development of pharmaceutical sector in Pakistan, and that is the absence of naphtha cracking facility, the hydrocracking facility. Because if you need to import pharmaceutical raw material to manufacture pharmaceutical raw material, you go out of feasibility. So there is absolutely no way that Pakistan can produce high quality pharmaceutical for local use and for export in cost feasible way without having a hydrocracking facility in the country. So it's an extremely important investment which Pakistan need to make, because there is a huge potential. I mean, locally and internationally, has been mentioned by Dr. Was. And we've also identified 3 more areas in which Pakistan can have edge over others. One is called a biomass fermentation-based manufacturing of a lot of pharmaceutical, which you can literally manufacture from the waste of agriculture produces. And fermentation technology, cell factories can have a huge impact on manufacturing a lot of it, because the raw material is already available. You know, what you need to have is to have a proper microbial technology which provide you biocatalysis to manufacture many pharmaceutical by fermentation technology. It's a very important area in which you do not really need to have any large scale import, because you can literally manufacture fermenters of all size from in Lahore, literally, you know. Second is this tremendous quantities of various salts which are present and which are required in pharmaceutical sector. Many of these salts are used in various injectables and others. We can easily go in it because we have huge quantities of these mineral and salt resources available. And that then become a major important resource for us to not only manufacture for local market, but also for export. The third is so-called slaughterhouse waste. You know, I mean, there's so much of animals sacrificed in this country for consumption, and there's so much of bio-waste which is coming out of slaughterhouse, which can be converted into pharmaceutical sector. Of course, then if you go and expand it, medicinal plants are also is a huge sector in which we can have a niche over other countries. So there are a few submissions. Comstech is always there to work with our policymakers, bring experts from abroad, from countries like Iran, which is not only self-sufficient, but also exporting all kind of pharmaceutical, including biopharmaceutical, including vaccines of all kind. Indonesia, which is producing pharmaceutical for 88 countries of the world. Even Bangladesh, you know, has really reached to a stage where they not only produce almost everything which we need for local manufacturing, but also for export. And Turkey. So there are many, many countries which have developed indigenous capacity in pharmaceutical sector, and Comstech would be able to bring those expertise to Pakistan if we can help in some way our local manufacturing. Comstech has many programs. Comstech is one of the most premier organizations of OIC institutions, with a huge mobility fund of 700 fellowships. And recently we announced 500 fellowship for Palestinians. Now our universities are expanding and opening their doors to expand it to 5,000 fellowships. Think of it, there is one country with so much vision, generosity, and connectivity with our brothers and sisters in Palestine. 5,000 fellowships, which will soon be implemented, We are in the process of establishing institution in Africa. There are many initiatives through which we are expanding help in pharmaceutical sector, including histopathology in Mogadishu. Professor Vase will be traveling to Islamic University in Uganda for neurocritical care. Our ophthalmologists were in Niger, Chad, and Uganda for various kinds of training. The African doctors are coming to Pakistan for complex training in complex eye surgery. So there's a huge range of activities which comstech has spread over health, higher education, science and technology, and climate. And I don't have time to explain this to you also, but the only thing which I would like to convey that this is an extremely important activity. The most important is to follow it up. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful remarks. Up next, I would like to now invite our guest of honor, Mr. Asim Rauf, CEO, Drug Regulation Authority, Pakistan, for his remarks.
Thank you very much. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. The Honorable Waqar Sir, Special Assistant to Prime Minister, respected Iqbal Sir, who is an excellent professional, Wasi Sir, and my senior, respectable Dr. Rashid Sir. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. It is indeed a great honor for me to be standing here in front of this august gathering. And I extend my heartfelt gratitude for inviting me to this esteemed seminar. And that is titled Pharmaceutical Manufacturing in OIC States, Status and Future. I'm delighted to be part of this significant event and brings together key stakeholders to discuss the vital issues of pharmaceutical manufacturing. We all know that pharmaceutical manufacturing plays a very important role. It is a dynamic field and it's a progressive field. Pakistan has recently been advancing in terms of pharmaceutical manufacturing, in terms of getting international accreditations, and in terms of boosting our exports. I'm happy to let you know that Pakistan has 8 manufacturing units which have got international accreditations in recent times. And those accreditation is from WHO, European Union, Health Canada, UAE, all of those stringent regulatory market where we have always wished and have plans to go there so that our export market excels. Pakistan's therapeutic goods export touched the highest mark in terms of value last year. And that was something outstanding that was recorded during the previous year. We are trying to go to the phenomenal mark of $1 billion exports this year. But there are various aspects, we set a mark, but there are challenges. And we are ready to face those challenges, and we are doing what we can do in our capacity to achieve that landmark. In DRAP, we have developed a system of automation, and I can proudly say that nowadays, no manual file work is there. The DRAP is running totally on e-governance. We have OIES system in place, that is import and export system through online. That means we at a click of button, we know that how many drugs and pharmaceuticals have been imported to Pakistan, have come into Pakistan, and what is going out of the Pakistan. We have deployed PIRIM system with the aid of USP, United States government, that is Pakistan Integrated Regulatory Information and Management System. So all of these steps that have enhanced transparency, visibility, and traceability. We believe that all of these steps, coupled with excelling in professional capabilities, would converge to boosting of the exports and would converge to achieve the landmark of recognized international authority. And I am happy to let you know that we are closer to that. There are 4 steps for any regulatory body in the world to achieve level 1, 2, 3, 4. We have crossed level 2 and we are approaching to level 3, that is acceptable level in the world. So, and at level 4, there are only 2 authorities, I believe, Dr. Obed, which second being it is FDA, USA, and Singapore regulatory authority. But level 3 is acceptable standard level in the world. So coming to the OIC states, I think we can have joint ventures in terms of research and development, in terms of clinical trials. That is a very vast field. Dr. Iqbal Sahab would second it that, and there is a huge revenue that we can get in through this field. We can have joint sessions to work on good manufacturing practices, to work on getting international accreditations. So when we sit together with OIC states under this platform that we have gathered today, and under this platform, we can move forward also. I would request that we make it a permanent feature by engaging all of the stakeholders, and specifically those those countries which have well-developed pharmaceutical concerns and which have the potentials to move forward. So we can have joint sittings and have MOUs to move forward. The ultimate goal would be to excel in pharmaceutical manufacturing and to go for some innovative products. We do have potential to work on some plants here in Pakistan and other innovative technologies. So when we would join hands, we can achieve that target too. Finally, I'm thankful again to Dr. Iqbal Sahab, Dr. Abdul Rashid Sahab, who is my esteemed senior, and all of the organizers here to invite me. But I wish and request that from here, we need to move on to achieve something that has never been achieved before. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your such informative and valuable comments. Up next, I would like to invite our guest of honor, Special Assistant to the Prime Minister on Finance and Revenue, Ministry of Finance, Dr. Waqar Masood Khan. Please, sir.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونستعينه ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا أما بعد Thank you. जनाब इकबाल चौधरी साहब, डॉक्टर वासे, Asim Rauf साहब, it's my privilege, proud pleasure to be standing in this seminar. Frankly, I did everything possible to persuade Vase Saab that you would like to invite somebody else, but he somehow had this belief that no, I should be here. So, given his affection and love, I conceded, and I'm very happy to be here. And I'm very happy to also realize that comstech is a body, OIC recognized body or established body of Islamic countries. As I entered the building, Iqbal Chaudhry Saab was slightly complainant that in nearly 24 years that we know each other, and this outfit was established, that I had not had a chance to come and visit, and I'm real pleased. Thank you, Joy Saab. Well, pharmaceutical industry, manufacturing, really is an indicator of economic development of the country. This is, I mean, just as having educational institutions, educational outputs are a measure of economic development, so is your healthcare sector. And all developed countries comprise extremely high quality health facilities. And one of the most important ingredients of health is to have access to high quality, effective medicines. And the more you are able to do this at your own end, the greater is predictability of its availability and a help in general to promote research and development in the country. So, you know, my attention to manufacturing sector was drawn when in our search for non-traditional sectors exports, we certainly realized that exports of pharmaceutical are becoming a very up-and-coming sector. This is not textile or sports goods or leather goods and so on and so forth. This is purely a scientific, research-based development. So, and as you can see, and I was very delighted with what Asim Saab has just informed, that perhaps we may be catching $1 billion exports. I would not be surprised, although during the last 5 years, over a 5-year period, 2019-23, we have about 55% increase in exports. So the room is there. It can happen. The dependence on imports remains very high. And although the data is split, it shows erratic. You see, in the year when economy was expanding in a slightly problematic way in 2022, imports are $4 billion worth. Last year, fiscal 23, it showed a growth of, the imports were only 1/4 of that, but that is a normal thing. About $1 billion, $1.3 billion. And you know, for any so-called import substitution, you look at what is the demand in the market and then determine whether it is possible to indigenize or substitute imports. So $1 billion industry, clearly, and with 4 billion in 22, there is a clear indication that if you fulfill the basic requirements, you can internalize, meaning you can create local industry. And when we look at stand in terms of per capita, we have $38 per capita expenditure on healthcare compared to about $56 in India, $151 in Sri Lanka, $51 in Bangladesh. So that clearly is an indication that there is plenty of room, in fact, enormous room to move forward. And in here, we also see that, look, I mean, when I am growing, and so are my other colleagues, there was no notion of a private hospital or private, I mean, doctors may be doing small practices. But here, in this age, you know, the country has progressed a lot, and private health facilities are fast growing, and that's the trend, and it will go on. So as the income levels are rising, a middle class is emerging, and hence it would be keen to spend larger amounts. And look at the global market, 1.6 trillion in the year last year, and it's growing 5-10% growth. And if the developing economy, our region, this trend will go on. Per capita expenditure in US of about $10,000. Let me just be sure about it. So $12,000 per capita expenditure, and so the room is limitless as far as we are concerned. I take very, I take pleasure, I take a comfort in realizing that Pakistan pharmaceutical industry is up and coming. And during the last decade or so, it has emerged. as a very formidable sector contributing to about 4% of our large scale manufacturing sector. Although overall GDP, it still have 1% share, but we see a rising trend in that. We have 800 facilities, manufacturing facilities. And that includes the foreign multinationals which are in Pakistan. Those are also there. And we are fast approaching ₹1 trillion worth of industry. ₹1 trillion worth of industry. And of the total expenditure on health that we have, of this production value, 73% is made by purely local Pakistani firms, not the international branch, which again is a source of comfort. Some of the issues, I was delighted to hear Iqbal Chaudhry saying that some basic things like NAFTA, and some of the areas we feel terrible. There was back in 1989, Perak was an institution in the public sector, and they were to set up in Balochistan a hydrocracker NAFTA facility, but it went nowhere and things moved on. So the strengths he has counted. There is a chance if the Saudi investment comes in a new refinery, it could couple this thing as well. Biomass and abattoirs, etc. These are these strengths which can build a strong manufacturing sector in Pakistan also. Some of the issues which people talk about, and some have been responded by previous speakers. One is that of these 800 facilities that we have, top 10 pharmaceutical companies, all right, they capture more than 50% of the output. So that means there are very, very small units also, and some kind of consolidation should be promoted so that whoever is operating with a real purpose, as opposed to doing very basic formulations and selling in perhaps rural markets, etc. People talk about price controls, and Asim Sahab is going through a very difficult phase in getting approval of the cabinet on some. Look, unfortunately, in the this has never happened in Pakistan's economy, to have seen 38% inflation, and when it comes down, you say 28% or 29%. This is unprecedented in country's history. But many things, it has a great deal of contribution by COVID, then Ukraine war, and then the consequent fallout on international commodity prices and oil prices, particularly, again hitting the roof. Well, we had until very recently $95, $100. So that's one thing. But even beyond that, there has been a weakening of our institutions to check inflationary trends. So food inflation, and we don't have much imports on, except we have a great deal of edible oil, which is a food item. But other than that, much of the food we grow at our own. But you see, those prices have also been rising. Now, in price controls, as has been said by Asim Saab, it's really a political decision. He has done all that is possible under the law and brought all the data, etc. But the decisions makers say that, why should we do? Well, why should you do? Somebody has to do, otherwise the medicines will not be available. Excessive regulation of the sector. And I am extremely pleased to hear from Asim Saab that they are already level 2 and heading towards level 3 of acceptance. And lengthy procedures, etc. And I would encourage that if the automation has reached a level as you have enunciated, it would be good that you set timelines also, maximum timelines for each of the processes which are required. I'm also very, very pleased to hear from Asim Saab that 8 local pharmaceutical companies have reached accreditation level from such institutions as WHO, EU, and USA also. Right. So this augurs well for the country. Still, what we see is that the components of what you call as API, the primary drugs, only 4% out of 100 are manufactured locally, and there's a phenomenal need. So 90% is really the formulations based on imported raw materials. Well, finally, I'll just say that this seminar should lead to a real focus on manufacturing. And I see a great deal of scope of cooperation. And you see, this Islamic bloc has all types of countries. They are wealthy nations, Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states. And then in Africa or even in Asia, some very poor countries. So if we cooperate, if we develop a complete database of manufacturing facilities in OIC countries, put it in an accessible form, so there could be intra-OIC trade in the pharmaceuticals, right? And that would really be very helpful for the region to bring a name for itself in this sector. And I also would like to draw your attention that the Islamic Development Bank has a trading finance arm, which is now based in Dubai or UAE. And they provide very concessional financing when there is OIC, intra-OIC trade. So trading in the manufacturing sector, financed by Islamic Development Bank, could really boost the sector. I once again thank the organizers to have given me this chance. Thank you very much. बहुत-बहुत शुक्रिया.
Thank you very much, sir. I would like to thank all our distinguished guests in the panel for their valuable remarks. This marks the end of the inaugural session. I would like to request Professor Iqbal to present shield to our guests, please, sir. Mr. Asim. Dr. Waqar Masood, sir. And Professor Waqar. I would like to invite you all for a tea and networking session. And we will resume with the technical sessions at exactly 11:40. So please be punctual. Please, my colleague will guide you to the. Welcome back, everyone. We will now formally begin the technical session of today's seminar. To begin the technical session, I would like to invite Mr. Ahsan Zafar Bakhtawi, sir, for his remarks on the viewpoint of pharmaceutical industry. Please, sir.
Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. First of all, as the president of Islamabad Chamber of Commerce and Industry, I really appreciate the initiative taken by the authorities for conducting this seminar on the manufacturing of pharmaceutical products in OIC countries. I think there is a great need of the time that there should be same regulatory agency in all the OIC countries so that the registration process should be same in all the OIC countries. By doing so, I think that we can export the products from one country to the other country very easily. And I think that by doing so, we can also start having a raw material manufacturing facilities in the OIC countries. And we look forward that the Arab countries will come forward and invest in the countries like Ethiopia, Pakistan, and Indonesia, which have huge population in the region. And they also have a great demand of pharmaceutical products. And there is also, after the pandemic, COVID, we have seen that the Muslim countries, OIC countries, suffered a lot for the procurement of basic healthcare products. We were short of pulse oximeters and all other such products. And there is a need that all the OIC countries should come forward for the manufacturing of a healthcare devices in OIC countries so that we can share our products and help each other. And we can also export these products to the Western countries and the America. And by doing so, I think the manufacturing factories and the manufacturers of these pharmaceutical products and the healthcare products can help the lively being and to uplift the living status of the workers of the OIC countries workers. And with these remarks, I think that we should have this type of a seminar in Islamabad Chamber of Commerce and Industry so that we can call all the pharmaceutical manufacturers from across the countries and discuss the issues faced by the pharma industry to export their products to the different countries. With these remarks, I am thankful to the organizing committee of this seminar And I look forward to have a good connectivity between Islamabad Chamber and your organization to enhance the export of Pakistan in the pharmaceutical sector and bring the technology to pharmaceutical of the healthcare sector to Pakistan to to make it available to the Pakistan and to the other Muslim countries at affordable prices. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hassan Bakhtari, sir, the President of Islamabad Chamber of Commerce. Up next, we have the former head of Pharmacy Department, Quaid-e-Azam University, Professor Gul Shahnaz, who's also a UNESCO Laureate Fellow. I would like to invite her for her comments on today's seminar.
Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum. Thank you very much for inviting me to give some overview about the pharmaceutical manufacturing and the need. So on the behalf of the organizing committee, that I'm greatly thankful that you took that initiative and that how it is an important and specifically in academia, that how we can bridge the academic research for the commercialization point of view. In the university, we are doing a lot of research that is a basic type of the research, but in the field of pharmacy, I think every research, basic research is even have a implementation type of a nature and commercialization value. So if we have to integrate with the Drug Regulatory Authority of the Pakistan, with the manufacturing industry and academia, we can bring a value, and we can also generate a lot of API even, and as well as all kind of the excipient. So most of the researchers in the university, they are working different type of a manufacturing of the raw material, specifically different type of a polymer, which can have a high value as a binder, as a lubricant required, and specifically nowadays, like even just a simple coloring agent, we are not capable to develop only a simple color. So that is where academia can play a role, and then they can make a bridging with the industry. So that's very important, and I think that will continue. That type of the seminar and that networking and the bridging is important. So that's we are here networking, and we can share more value what we are doing at academia. So that will be helpful for regulatory agencies and also the industry level. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your comments. Up next, I would like to invite Dr. Abdul Rashid, Consultant Health Initiatives, Comstech, to give a presentation on the regulatory issues in pharmaceutical manufacturing. Please.
I'm sorry, मैं खुद यूनिवर्सिटी टीचर हूँ, मैं इंग्लिश में भी बात करूंगा, लेकिन मैं उर्दू में बात करूंगा। ऐसे ऐसी पाबंदियां लगने की जैसे सारे उर्दू स्पीकिंग हैं, नेशनल लैंग्वेज भी बोलनी चाहिए, सुप्रीम कोर्ट मेरे करीब है, और आधी इंग्लिश मुझे भी आती है, आधी आपको भी किसी को आती होगी, किसी को नहीं आती होगी। तो मैं चाहूंगा कि मैं इंग्लिश में बात करूँ, उर्दू में बात करूँ। बाकी जो हमारा कल्चर है, पाकिस्तानी कल्चर, वो सामने और जिस मकसद के लिए मैं उस पर हम बात कर सकते हैं। खुल के बाद जो है वो उर्दू स्पीकिंग है, उसमें वेरी मिक्स होगी, इंग्लिश उर्दू मिक्स होगी, तो इसलिए कोई मसला नहीं होता। They will understand what you want to say. अब मुझे पता है कि बिकॉज ये तो हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स का तो हमें हुए थे बहुत ज्यादा 200-300 का बात। थैंक यू। तो कुल्लूफियों में खा गए। मेरा तारुफ, मैं अपना तारुफ करा देता हूँ। मैं बेसिकली यहाँ कॉम्स्टेक में ही हेल्थ को डील करता हूँ, होल हेल्थ सेक्टर इंक्लूडिंग फार्मेसी, और मेरे कुलीग बैठे हैं। मैं एक्स डिप्टी डायरेक्टर जनरल ड्राइव रह चुका हूँ। इसमें मैं क्या व्हाट आई वांट टू डिस्कस, द फर्स्ट थिंग इज द रेगुलेटरी एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ द ड्राइव। What is that? I will discuss that one first. The second one is safety, efficacy, and quality responsibility of the manufacturers. You must know, you must keep in mind that this is the responsibility of the manufacturer who got license, who got registration. He is responsible for safety, quality, and efficacy of medicines. Draft is a body which ensures that one I will discuss later on. Another is the regulatory matters. It allow me, maybe I discuss another topic, but this topic has given to me, so I have a little bit modified, and I put it regulatory matters, but actually it is more. Another thing is, what is my recommendations? What are the conclusions? I will discuss in this slide. History of the regulatory authorities in Pakistan. Before partition, in 1995, there was the Act combined for India and Pakistan. In 1945 to 1976, the same law was implemented. In 1976, the Drug Act 1976 was made, and also the rules framed thereunder. And from 1976, after the 18th Amendment, the law, we were bound to, why I'm saying bound, because अगर वो आखिरी दिन ये 13 नवंबर 2012 को जो draft act बना है, that was the last day I was in the Senate. अगर ये न बनता तो ये कोई regulatory body मतलब federal level पे न होती. So that was we were compelled, because अठारह तरमीम के बाद ये सूबों की जिम्मेदारी थी सेहत. ये federal government की नहीं थी, तो हमें ये draft act बनाना पड़ गया. That was alhamdulillah, my colleagues are there. That draft act is made by me, and this is my product. What is draft? The mission of the draft is to ensure patient access to safe and efficacious therapeutic goods, not medicine, not drugs. They are not therapeutic goods. Therapeutic goods means the allopathic drugs, the herbal drugs, the veterinary medicines, biologicals, vaccines, medical devices, homeopathic drugs, traditional medicine, Chinese medicines, Unani medicines, many things, they all are included in therapeutic goods. So you should call it not drugs, not medicine, you should call it therapeutic goods. This is the main, the main responsibility, the main mission of the draft is this one. And to accomplish this draft mission, they have very critical role in fostering manufacturing innovations that can improve patient quality and prevent drug shortage. अगर quality medicines नहीं बनेगी, import होगी, लोग medicine इस्तेमाल करना नहीं इस्तेमाल करेंगे, इस्तेमाल करना छोड़ देंगे अगर उनको quality medicine नहीं मिलेगी, जिसकी या जो quality medicines हैं उसकी shortage हो जाती है, because वो quality medicine market में नहीं मिलती या महंगी दवाइयाँ होती हैं, उसके spurious drug manufacturing शुरू हो जाती है, तो उसकी वजह से भी दवाइयों की shortage हो जाती है. और raw material जैसे कोविड में है, उनमें आपने देखा कि जब डॉलर की कीमत बहुत बड़ी तो वायबल ही नहीं था कि फार्मा इंडस्ट्री वो जो फार्मास्यूटिकल प्रोडक्ट्स है वो बना सके. ये ड्राफ्ट की जिम्मेदारी थी. नाउ आई कम टू द फार्मा इंडस्ट्री. ये अब मैं थोड़ा सा उर्दू में इसलिए कहना चाहूंगा कि ड्राफ्ट ये समझता है, मैं बड़े क्लियर अल्फाज में कहना चाहूंगा, ये ड्राफ्ट कानून के मुताबिक और ड्राफ्ट ये समझता है कि क्वालिटी सेफ इफेक्टिव मेडिसिन बनाना ये मैन्युफैक्चरर जिसने लाइसेंस लिया है, जिसने रजिस्ट्रेशन लिया है, उसकी जिम्मेदारी है. लेकिन ब्रॉडर सेंस में जब फार्मा इंडस्ट्री की तरफ आते हैं, फार्मा इंडस्ट्री कहती है कि जी हम इतना, हमारे पास इतना मसाइल नहीं है, इतना पैसा नहीं है, ट्रैक हमारे होता है. तो मैं जो यहाँ करूँ कि मैं कॉम्स्टेक ब्रिज है, ये फार्मा इंडस्ट्री और ड्रैफ्ट ये मिल के आगे चले और वो ऐसी कंट्रीज में जाए और कैसे ड्रैफ्ट हेल्प कर सकती है फार्मा इंडस्ट्री की, ताकि ज्यादा से ज्यादा, मैं 100% श्योर हूँ कि पाकिस्तान में क्वालिटी मेडिसिन बनती है ताकि ज्यादा से ज्यादा एक्सपोर्ट हो और ये मिलके काम. सो ये आप जरूर ध्यान में रखिएगा कि किसकी जिम्मेदारी है और किसकी नहीं है और कैसे मिलके हमने चलना है. और जब हम ड्रैप और फार्मा इंडस्ट्री मिलके चलेगी तो क्वालिटी मेडिसिन की प्रोडक्शन होगी, वही एक्सपोर्ट होगी 57 मुस्लिम कंट्रीज. Pharma companies, they require approval from drug regulatory manufacturing for license for import, export of the medicines. This is the job of the federal government. But I have not clear it, but distribution sale is the provincial government job. So, as majority, I have seen that majority they are pharmacists and they are sent, but this is not job of distribution sale is the provincial job, and other trap job. More than 650 pharma industries they are licensed. That's anybody you know the exact figure? 621. 621. ये चूंकि लाइसेंस कैसे भी होते रहते हैं न्यू भी बनते रहते हैं तो ये डाटा काम ये ज्यादा होता रहता है एक एडवांस ट्रैप था व्हेन I was also working in trap as a director तो उस वक्त 650 थी now it has been changed 621 and more than 75 distribution retail pharmacies are available in Pakistan. As I've already told you that distribution sale is regulated and licensed by the provincial inspectors and DHOs. DRAP and pharma industry, I want to combine them to. I will read it. Friendly and trustworthy behaviors is required for smooth working relationship between both sides. This is very, very important. This is very, very important because they should work together in a friendly and trustworthy manner. Our pharma sector is highly dependent on imports to meet the basic raw materials, and raw materials it is active pharmaceutical ingredients and also the excipients. Mostly we have to import medicines from abroad. 95% of active pharmaceutical ingredients are imported and only 5% are manufactured locally by the 8 pharma industries. And about this, I want to add that about 70% of the active pharmaceutical ingredients are supplied by India and China, and it is supplied to the whole world. Maybe it is astonishing for someone, but this is the true figure that India and China, they are exporting either the active pharmaceutical ingredients or the excipients to the whole country, to the whole world. Import, I will discuss one by one. For imported raw materials, clearance is required from DRAP, and it should be quick and in a timely manner. So if its clearance is delayed, a fine is imposed on the shipment by the custom authorities, which is a greater financial loss to the pharma industries. मेरे कुलीग बैठे पहले जो है वो क्लियरेंस जो होती थी वो प्रोविंशियल लेवल पे होती थी, लेकिन अब जहां तक मेरी इंफॉर्मेशन है और मैं भी उस डिसीजंस में शामिल होता था वो सेंट्रलाइज कर दी गई है. तो इस वक्त ये एक प्रॉब्लम है कि डिले हो जाता है कि एनओसी मिलने में, और जिसकी वजह से डैमेजेस पड़ते हैं और कंपनियों को बहुत ज्यादा फाइनेंशियल लॉस होता है. तो जी बिल्कुल सर, मैंने कहा उस डिसीजन में मैं खुद शामिल था. अब मैं 11 साल जो है मैं अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह हज मेडिकल मिशन पे गया हूँ और वहाँ जद्दा में हम क्लियरेंस करवाते थे तो वो एक्सपर्ट फार्मासिस्ट होते थे. मेरी विश है और मेरी ख्वाहिश है कि हम इतना रहने के बावजूद हम ये नहीं करा सके कि हमारा फार्मासिस्ट जो एनओसी देने वाला वो हर एयरपोर्ट पे मौजूद हो, और बाकी दुनिया में भी मौजूद है, लेकिन अभी हमने ये ख्वाब देखा नहीं है. मैंने तो ख्वाब देख लिया था, दैट इज वाई ड्रैप एक्ट बन गया था, और हमें अभी यहाँ से बजाय सेंट्रलाइज ईमेल करने की बजाय हमारे पोर्ट पे बैठे होने चाहिए और वहाँ उनको क्लियर देनी चाहिए. देयर आर मेनी इश्यूज वहाँ होते हैं, और कई आप ये अनस्मगल दवाइयाँ कस्टम को देके रिश्वत देके वहाँ क्लियर हो जाती हैं और ड्राइव को पता नहीं होता. मैं खुद 8 साल एडिशनल डायरेक्टर इस्लामाबाद रहा हूँ, क्वालिटी ऑफ कंट्रोल का हेड रहा हूँ. मुझे पता है कि मैं हमारे लेटर्स का जवाब तक नहीं देते थे. तो ये बहुत बड़ा इशू है, और इसको जो है ड्राइव अगर बजाय सेंट्रलाइज के मैं कहूँगा कि उसको डिसेंट्रलाइज करें और हर एयरपोर्ट पे बैठा होना चाहिए. और मेरी प्रेजेंटेशन के बाद डॉक्टर उबैद साहब हूँ, जो मैं बातें कर रहा हूँ, जो ये रियल जो फार्मा इंडस्ट्री और इसमें ड्राइव के अंदर है, मैं उसमें से करूँगा. डॉक्टर साहब जो है वो जो मौजूदा इस वक्त कर रहे हैं, जो मेरे नॉलेज में नहीं है क्योंकि मैं 2 साल पहले रिटायर हो चुका हूँ, तो वो लेटेस्ट पोजीशन बताएंगे, और इंशाल्लाह आप मैं उम्मीद करता हूँ मेरे कुलीग हैं कि वो इंशाल्लाह बेहतर फॉर्म में रहेंगे, तो आपकी थोड़ी तबीयत भी खुश हो जाएगी. Due to delay in clearance availability of life-saving medicines, they are also suffered. Now I come to the export. One thing is import, another thing is export. That Dr. Asif, we are here to that quality medicines are produced, are manufactured in Pakistan, it should be exported to other OIC 57 countries. That's why we arrange this summit. For export purpose, proper facilitation shall be provided. What is proper? This DRAP officials, they know very well. Timely approval NOC by DRAP is required. Import, export policies shall be well defined, and proper training shall be conducted through international donors, agencies, that is USP, WHO, GS, and others. Actually, the pharma industry is feeling this one, that what are the procedures for the export? This is actually not the responsibility of the DRAP, but the pharma industry want the facilitation. They want the guidance of the DRAP, because in DRAP, the experience of professional people are well trained, not only at national, at international, they are the trained people. But in pharma industry, pharmacist working in 3 years, he don't have such capacity and capability to export, to deal with export, all export matters. So they want that in export, and DRAP should help to the industry so that the export can be increased. The last one is country criteria for export of medicine shall be readily available on DRAP website in clear and understand manner, because pharma industry don't. यहाँ pharma industry भी कुछ लोग बैठे हैं. Everybody don't know what is the criteria of each country. So the pharma industry this expects, just like Alza Pharma is here. They expect that as DRAP have the professional capability and the expertise, if say in Arab countries, Gulf countries, what is their procedure for import and export from Pakistan to them? It should be displayed on the website data DRAP. The pharma industry needs this help. Training for pharmacists, a internship program for fresh pharmacists as well as industrial pharmacists with certification should be offered by the DRAP, focusing on CTD format. Dr. Ubaid साहब हैं जो कि focal point हैं, और इन्होंने हमारे division of recession में होते थे, सारा CTD का इन्होंने किया. मेरी खुशकिस्मती देती थी, मेरे एक मरहूम कुलीग थे डॉक्टर जोतानी साहब. हम एमरो की जो फर्स्ट ट्रेनिंग ओमान में होती तो हम इकट्ठी थे, वो CTD फॉर्मेट की थी. वो पूरे एमरो रीजन की 22 मुल्कों की ट्रेनिंग की. आई वाज आल्सो देयर. As well as import, export, recession, renewal, pricing and legal matters में इनकी जो fresh pharmacists हैं, उनको जो industry में काम करने वाले हैं, जो import export में काम करने वाले हैं, उनको training दी, उनको certification दे. Academia is there. Dr. Tahir Akil is there. They can collaborate with the academia and give certification to the pharmacist. Another important thing may be internship program for DRAP, Federal Inspector of Drugs, as well as assistant directors in industry should be offered by the Pakistan Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Association for better understanding of production, quality control, quality assurance, which enhance their knowledge to pharmaceutical industries, and it will help them to understand the procedures and working pharmaceutical industry, as many of new assistant directors and federal inspector of drugs need the proper knowledge of practical working during manufacturing, which create problems during their inspections. फार्मा में थोड़ा सा उर्दू में बात करूंगा. फार्मा इंडस्ट्री कहती है कि जब हमारे पास इंस्पेक्शन पे असिस्टेंट कंट्रोलर, असिस्टेंट डायरेक्टर आता है या फेडरल इंस्पेक्टर आता है, बोर्ड के मेंबर आता है, कई ऑफिसर्स ड्रैप के होते हैं जो कि उन्होंने फार्मा इंडस्ट्री में सारी एक्सपीरियंस उनका नहीं होता, प्रोडक्शन में काम किया, क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस. तो जो प्रैक्टिकल चीजें होती हैं, जो प्रोसीजर होते हैं, वर्किंग मेथोडोलॉजीज होती हैं, वो ड्रैप के कुछ ऑफिसर्स नहीं जानते. कुछ की एक्सपर्टीज है, बहुत अच्छा जानते हैं, कुछ होते हैं उनको टेक्निकल का नहीं पता होता है प्रोडक्शन. तो पीपीए में खुद ऑफर करें. आप एक हफ्ते जी क्वेश्चन आंसर पार्ट. जी सर.
बस आई वुड लाइक टू ऐड ए कमेंट हियर सर. जिस तरह आपने बताया कि कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग और ड्राइव की जरूरत है, इसी बात को आइडेंटिफाई करते हुए 2018 में से एक प्रोग्राम शुरू किया था WHO USP के ताबन के साथ ड्राइव में, जिसमें से एक ऑडिट पूल बनाया गया और 3 सालों के दौरान बड़ी एग्जॉस्टिव ट्रेनिंग्स के जरिए से जो ऑफिसर्स हैं सिलेक्टेड, उनको गुजारा गया और 24 अफराद ऐसे सर्टिफाई किए बाय WHO USP एंड ड्राइव कलेक्टिवली, जो कि यानी जिनको बाद में सर फिर ऑब्जर्व ऑडिट्स थ्रू पिक्स एंड WHO, यानी इंटरनेशनल एजेंसीज ने भी इस बात को इंडोर्स किया कि हमारा जो इंस्पेक्टोरेट है अभी इस वक्त नेशनल लेवल के ऊपर इंस्पेक्शन करने का केपेबल है। तो ये बिल्कुल आपने दूसरा वाला कहा, रैप हैज ऑलरेडी टेकन अप दिस मैटर फॉर द पास्ट 5 years, और आई बिलीव कि शायद हमारा जो वो रिवैम्पिंग वाला इंस्पेक्टोरेट का प्रोसेस है, इट्स in very good hands.
Thank you very much. 100% agree with you. मेरा ख्याल में जितना हो रहा है कि ये दुनिया का इतना 5वां बड़ा मुल्क है और हमारी इंडस्ट्री 621 के करीब है। जितने भी ज्यादा आप लोग ट्रेन करेंगे, जितने भी ज्यादा स्मार्ट यूज उतने ही ज्यादा। बिल्कुल जो पहले भी हो रहा है, पहले में हमसे पहले भी होता रहा जब हम भी ड्राइव पे नहीं थे या अपनी भी थे, आज भी हो रहा है, रहना भी होता है। लेकिन ये जो ट्रेनिंग का जी सेशन है जिसमें हम अपने एक्सपर्ट्स को तैयार करना है उनको अभी हमें मजीद जरूरत है और जितने ज्यादा करेंगे उतने बेहतर होगा। ये एक प्रैक्टिकल चीज प्रॉब्लम आया था इंडस्ट्री, ये जितने क्वेश्चंस हैं हम जबानी तो जानते थे, ये टोटली 100% जो है ये प्रॉब्लम इंडस्ट्री ने खुद दी है और कि हमें क्या फेस है। डॉक्टर उबैद साहब मुझे यकीन है कि उस पर करेंगे, लेकिन ये सारी चीजें हो रही हैं, इवन देन देयर इज द नीड। रिन्यूअल एंड प्राइसिंग लेटर्स, उसमें मैं थोड़ा सा चाहूंगा कि renewal and pricing letters should be sent via email to avoid delays and for smooth working. Sometimes ये होता है कि minutes जो होते हैं बन जाते हैं या minutes पे बनते 3 माह लग जाते हैं या 1 माह लग जाता है, 2 माह लग जाते हैं या लेटर कुछ को इशू हो जाते हैं, कुछ को नहीं होता, एक मीटिंग होती है, ये खुद मेरे साथ होता है, मैं खुद करता रहा हूँ। तो ये जो डिले हो जाते हैं ना, वो कहते हैं कि लेटर ना भेजें, उसको ईमेल भेजें। पास का वो कहते हैं कि भेजिए लेकिन वहां नहीं मिलता। तो ये जो प्रैक्टिकल प्रॉब्लम है ना, ये नीति होती है, मैं वो आप लोगों के साथ इंडस्ट्री के लोग भी बैठे हैं, रेगुलेटर भी बैठे हैं, भी बैठे, ये प्रैक्टिकल थिंग है, इसमें कोई ऐसी बात नहीं। अब ड्राइव जो है वो पेपरलेस हो गया, दैट वाज आवर ड्रीम।
ये मसला सर रिजॉल्व हो गया, हमारा ऑनलाइन इंपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट भी हो गया, फाइलिंग भी हो गया और ये मसला रिजॉल्व हो गया, लेटर चला।
बिल्कुल ठीक है, कुछ चीजें होंगी मैं यहाँ डिस्कस नहीं करूँ। और आपका ट्रेनिंग sessions are required for industries on new SROs and legal requirements for better understanding and implementation. इंडस्ट्री ये चाहती है कि जो न्यू SRO 6 फार्मा को बिजनेस डॉक्टर साहब ने किया है, मैंने एथिकल मार्केटिंग पे साइन किए हैं, मैंने भी साइन किया, लेकिन मुझे भी नहीं पता उसके अंदर क्या चीजें इतने लेजी डॉक्यूमेंट्स। मैं एथिकल मार्केटिंग में आपके मुल्क का जो मिनिस्टर था फैसल सुल्तान साहब, he came our office, CEO office, and he was our expert. वो बाद में हमारा मिनिस्टर बन गया। He was expert in that ethical marketing. और मैंने भी पूरा पढ़ाया था, लेकिन मुझे भी सब याद है। तो ये चीजें जो होती हैं, जो न्यू SROs होते हैं, इंडस्ट्री जो ये आप ड्राइव से एक्सपेक्ट करती है कि हमारी इतनी कैपेबिलिटी नहीं है, वो मानते हैं। कई लोग बहुत काबिल हैं, मैं नहीं चाहता कि सारे जैसे फ्रेश भी होते हैं, बहुत एक्सपीरियंस भी लोग, लेकिन फिर भी वो जो छोटी इंडस्ट्री होती है, छोटे लेवल जिसके 2-3 सेक्शन होते हैं, 5, वो फिर भी एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं कि हमें हमारे लोग इतने फार्मासिस्ट जो हैं वो इतने उनकी एक्सपर्टीज नहीं, इतना ट्रेनिंग, तो लैब हमारी मदद करे, जो न्यू एसआरओ करते हैं उस पर हमें थोड़ी बहुत ट्रेनिंग भी दे, भले WHO के थ्रू हो, भले GSZ के थ्रू, भले किसी इंटरनेशनल GSP इदारे की तरफ से हो, लेकिन वो उनकी एक्सपेक्टेशन है। मेरा काम था ड्राइव के सामने रखा, मैं एक्स डायरेक्टर ऑफ ड्राइव, तो मैंने वुड यू बिलीव द होल थिंग केम फ्रॉम इंडस्ट्री। और मैं ये नहीं कहता मैं इंडस्ट्री को रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा हूँ, मैं कहा कि ड्राइव और इंडस्ट्री मिलके चले और क्वालिटी मेडिसिन हो और फिर 50 साल मुस्लिम बने। मेरा dossiers are pending at DRAP and last 2 years. Maybe this is wrong, but there is some problem. Maybe 2 साल के रहते हो, maybe 1.5 साल करंट पोजीशन, लेकिन कुछ लोगों के 2 साल की भी रहते, उसमें मैं नहीं जाता ना, क्योंकि हमें तो अंदर आगे आप ये कहेंगे कि इसमें क्यों है, एक कंपनी में कुछ रेगुलेट करता है, मैं उसमें कहूंगा कि एक हमारा असिस्टेंट डायरेक्टर, मैं खुद मेरी होगा, एक असिस्टेंट रेगुलेट करता है, उसकी प्रोफेशनल कैपेबिलिटी कुछ और है, एक और करते हैं उसको कुछ और है, अपने नुक्ते नजर से करते हैं, तो इसमें कोई ऐसी बात नहीं, बट थोड़ी बहुत वेरिएशन। तो इसलिए ये पॉइंट आ गया। मोर प्रोडक्ट रिन्यूअल लेटर, मजे की बात ये जितने सेशन है मैंने सारी मेरा कोई एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है, लेकिन लोगों से भी शेयर करते हैं जिन्होंने हमें बताया। मोर प्रोडक्ट रिन्यूअल लेटर्स शैल बी इशू हो रहे हैं, लेकिन अभी भी बहुत सारे ऐसे लेटर्स हैं जो क्या रिन्यू लेटर इशू होना पाता है। पोस्ट रिसेशन वेरिएशन केसेस आर पेंडिंग एट ड्राफ्ट। वो ये समझते हैं कि हम काफी सारे जो अगर रिसेशन हो जाती है, डॉक्टर उबैद साहब कई साल जो है उसमें रहे हैं रिसेशन में, वो ज्यादा बेहतर तौर पे एलेबरेट करें कि इस वक्त करंट स्टेटस क्या है। लेकिन अगेन देयर इज इंडस्ट्री सेज कि हमारा अभी तक ये प्रॉब्लम है। More trainings are required for online CTD submission. Although के CTD की सब डॉक्टर उबैद साहब ने ट्रेनर्स की थी और इंडस्ट्री को ट्रेन किया था, लेकिन फिर मैं हसन साहब से कहूँगा, हसन अब्दाल साहब से कहूँगा कि वो ट्रेनिंग जितनी है वो अपनी मजीद हो। अभी सबमिशन ऑफ वर्कर या तो मैं खुद भी डायरेक्टर था, फाइल गुम हो गई है, रजिस्ट्रेशन में गुम हो गई, किसी और वो मिलती नहीं है। हेल्थ अथॉरिटी से मैं खुद ताकि उन्हें बाहर निकल जाते हैं, क्योंकि लॉ स्टाफ करने स्टाफ की बात है। लेकिन वो जो प्रॉब्लम होता है कि फाइल जमा कराई है, रोज जमा कराया नहीं रिट्रीव हो रहा, तो वो प्रॉब्लम की बात आप सब चीज ऑनलाइन आप वो मसला ही खत्म हो जाएगा। लेकिन जो चीजें चल रही हैं वो तो प्रॉपर गाइडलाइन फॉर ब्रांड एंड इशू, उसमें मेरा ख्याल में प्रोफेसर शहनाज साहब बैठे हैं कि ये इसमें करेंगे कि हमारी ना ब्रांड जब रजिस्ट्रेशन में है तो डॉक्टर साहब डॉक्टर उबैद साहब को बेहतर पता और जिस तरह डिफरेंट नेम्स हैं, तो उसके भी वो चाहते हैं कि पॉलिसी बन जाए ताकि कंपनी की थोड़ी फैसिलिटेशन बने। एक डॉक्यूमेंट के वकील साहब मैंने कल सुबह रात एक गारंटी बना के दे देंगे, ऐसा सब राना एहसान साहब पढ़ा नहीं, कोई मुश्किल नहीं हमारे आपके ब्रांड के ऑफिसरों के लिए। लेकिन एक चीज है जो कि हम शुरू से देखते रहे हैं कि भी ब्रांड नेम होता है जाता है तो पहले से मौजूद होता है, तो वो चाहते हैं कि हमारी गाइडलाइन के लिए कोई ना कोई डॉक्यूमेंट हो। अब्दुल्ला साहब का सारी उम्र का रजिस्ट्रेशन में रहे। मैं आप फार्मेसी सर्विसेज वो भी इंडस्ट्री क्या है, आप इंडस्ट्री और ड्राइव को कहें, लेकिन असल चीज होते हैं वो पेशेंट यूज करनी होती है। अगर मैं फार्मेसी सर्विसेज की बात नहीं करूंगा, पेशेंट की बात नहीं करूंगा तो मैं साफ नहीं हूँ। इसलिए मैंने आजकल डॉक्टर वैसा है, जब मैं रिटायर हुआ तो मैं इसी डिवीजन से रिटायर हुआ। क्लिनिकल ट्रायल फार्माकोजेनिक पेशेंट सेफ्टी ट्रेनिंग थ्रू इंटरनेशनल एजेंसी, ये सारी चीजें इस वक्त हो रही हैं। लेकिन जो हमारी पॉपुलेशन है, मैं पहले कहता था कराची को एक क्या करा, मैं कहता हूँ कराची एक मुल्क है, लाहौर एक मुल्क से बड़ा है, इस्लामाबाद एक मुल्क से बड़ा है, मुल्तान एक मुल्क से बड़ा है। लोगों के शहर और मुल्क होते हैं, हमारे एक शहर जो है मुल्क के बराबर है। हमारी जो 225 करोड़ आबादी है वो उसमें से एक मुल्क है और बड़ी बड़ी दुनिया का 5वां बड़ा मुल्क है। तो उसमें इन चीजों की अगर आपने करनी, हमने इसमें अरबों डॉलर कमाए क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स में। ये काम करने वाले बंदे सामने बैठे हैं, राना एहसान सब वकील सब बाकी लोग गुड प्रिस्क्राइबिंग प्रैक्टिस। दिस इज ये एक अलमी है पाकिस्तान में कि जो दवाइयों का हम ऐसे इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं जैसे पकौड़े सब्जी और चॉकलेट और मेरे स्टूडेंट भी बैठे हुए हैं। आपने मेरी बात सुनी थी जब मैं टीचर था, ये प्रोफेसर साहबा जो है मेरी टीचर है, उस्मान की मेरे स्टूडेंट बैठे हुए हैं। मैं जब मैं टीचर था उस सब भी कहता कि पाकिस्तान में एंटीबायोटिक की तरह इस्तेमाल करते हैं। ये अलमी है कि दवा मेरी अपनी फैमिली में डॉक्टर हैं, 5 भतीजे सारे स्पेशलिस्ट हैं, बेटी डॉक्टर है, 2 डॉक्टर है, स्पेशलिस्ट है। लेकिन यकीन करें पाकिस्तान में जो एंटीबायोटिक इस्तेमाल करते हैं बिल्कुल कोई रेशनल कोई कमीशन। आप डॉक्टर किसी पर आप ये डॉक्टर खान के हैं, हमने हमारे जो लखनऊ साथे में कई दफा हमने रेट किए हैं खान की फार्मेसी की, वहां भी चीजें पकड़ी जो हमें कुछ नहीं चाहिए। पाकिस्तान में 25 करोड़ आवाम में जो इंटरनेशनल स्टैंडर्ड है कि एंटीबायोटिक का इस्तेमाल करें, पहले उसको कल्चर सब्सिट्यूट टेस्ट करें कि ये एंटीबायोटिक असर करती है नहीं करती है, रेजिस्टेंट है या सेंसिटिव, उसके बाद करें। मेरा ख्याल में खान में कहूँ बाकी हम कहेंगे rational use of medicines, ये pharmacist का होता है, should be implemented through provincial government। साफ जा रही जब हॉस्पिटल की बात होगी तो provincial government हो। 3 monthly physical meetings, डॉक्टर वैसे आपकी तो जो चाहिए होगी। 3 monthly physical meetings and coordination is required among various provincial governments and priority matters। मैं डॉक्टर साहब से कह रहा था, ये मैं रूटीन की सेंट्रल एसेंसी बोर्ड, डिसीजन बोर्ड, प्राइसिंग कमेटी कोई भी उसकी फुल मीटिंग्स की बात नहीं करा। उसके अलावा जो प्रायोरिटी मैटर्स हैं आपके, उसमें हम एक वर्चुअल मीटिंग कर लें, एक फिजिकल मीटिंग कर लें, उस पर आगे नहीं जाता। विकास 13 डिवीजन में 13 जो है पूरी दुनिया है वो हमारे ड्राइव 13 डिवीजन से, उनका इतना ज्यादा काम है, इतनी बड़ी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि वो सिर्फ 1-2 मीटिंग से डॉक्टर साहब से मैंने रिक्वेस्ट की, तब शायद मैं अफगानिस्तान में दोनों इकट्ठे थे, कि भाई ये क्यों, मैं सोचता था कि क्यों नहीं चीजें बेहतर, बहुत बेहतर हुई, इवन देन वी नीड मोर। उसकी रीजन यह है कि अगर हम पंजाब में और केपी में करते हैं तो बलोचिस्तान में और एके में, जीबी में वो चीजें अमल दरामद नहीं होती। जब तक आप लोगों का जो ड्राफ्ट का है सूबों के साथ इम्प्लीमेंटेशन में कोऑर्डिनेशन नहीं रहता, 3 मंथली बेसिस पे, चाहे वो ड्राफ्ट उतर जाए सूबों में, ड्राफ्ट वाले सूबों वाले ड्राफ्ट में है, लेकिन जो आपकी प्रायोरिटी चीजें हैं उस पर क्लोज लाइजान होता है, तभी जाके हो सकते हैं, अदरवाइज बहुत मुश्किल है। ये मैंने इसलिए डाल दिया क्योंकि एंटी माइक्रोबियल रेजिस्टेंस, एंटी माइक्रोबियल कंजम्पशन, एंटी माइक्रोबियल स्टीवरशिप प्रोग्राम ट्रेनिंग का रिक्वायर्ड फॉर रिटेल एंड हॉस्पिटल फार्मेसी बिकॉज आप मेरी ये बात याद रखें, अगर ये एंटीबायोटिक माइक्रोबियल स्टीवरशिप का ना हुआ और एंटीबायोटिक इस्तेमाल नहीं हुआ, कम ना हुआ, तो पाकिस्तान में कोई एंटीबायोटिक नहीं करेंगी। डॉक्टर साहब बहुत अच्छा खान वाले कर रहे हैं, लेकिन बाकी जो है बहुत बुरे हालात हैं। आप एंटीबायोटिक्स, एक अफगानिस्तान का मरीज मार चुका है 2 कलसूम में, तो बगैर कल्चर सेंसिटिविटी के 2 महीने इंजेक्शन, 1 महीने तक एंटीबायोटिक, 3 एंटीबायोटिक 1 महीने तक लगाते रहे, मरीज अल्टीमेटली मर गया। लैक ऑफ ह्यूमन रिसोर्स इन दैट, people with the workload and the number of farm industry, human resource of 13 division of that shall be increased. डॉक्टर साहब कल वैसा कल ही हम डिस्कस कर रहे थे हमारे कुलीग के साथ, वो कह रहे थे कि हमारा ह्यूमन रिसोर्स जो 2018 में था उससे भी लेस, दैट इज फैक्ट ऑफ दैट जो कि वेस्ट प्रेजेंटेशन में कर रहा हूं कि कल की बात डॉक्टर साहब मौजूद थे। तो ये जो 50 पहले हैं ये थोड़े हैं। अमेरिकन सीडीआर का है 18,000 एम्प्लॉय, और हम दुनिया के 500 बड़े मखलूक के अंदर सारे बैठे हुए 25 करोड़, उनके लिए 500 ऑफिसर भी नहीं है, बहुत थोड़े हैं, कुछ नहीं है। इसको डबल करें, 4 गुना ज्यादा करें, फिर भी थोड़े। Dealing at possibility and drag pharmacists shall be increased at national and international level. जितनी भी ट्रेनिंग्स में हो, माशाल्लाह इनकी बहुत एक्सपर्टीज है ड्रैब के ऑफिसर्स की, लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी दुनिया इतनी तेजी के साथ तरक्की कर रही है कि उनको ना सिर्फ मुल्की लेवल पे नहीं, ये इतने बिजी होते हैं वुड यू बिलीव इंडस्ट्री के खातिर, ये अपनी प्रोफेशनल कैपेबिलिटी या अपने आप को बढ़ाना उसमें भी नहीं कर सकते। इवन इनके फैमिली लाइफ इनकी डिस्टर्ब हो जाती है ड्राइव के अफसरों की। उनको ना सिर्फ नेशनल लेवल बल्कि इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे जाना चाहिए, और दुनिया में जाएंगे तो सीख के आएंगे और यहाँ पाकिस्तान में आके इम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे। मेरा ख्याल में मेरी बातें जो खत्म होने वाली है, मैं चंद रिकमेंडेशन में आऊंगा। Export can be increased by the support of GRAP to farm industry for economic growth of country. This is very, very important. The second is, जिसके लिए भी हमने बात भी की है, regional and international framework shall be prepared for import and export into overseas countries. अभी डॉक्टर बैर साहब और वासिफ साहब और प्रोफेसर इकबाल चौधरी साहब के साथ हमने डिस्कशन किया है कि भाई हम जो रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज हैं ओवरसीज कंट्रीज की, उनकी एक मीटिंग करते हैं, फिर फार्मा इंडस्ट्री करते हैं, और डॉक्टर बैर से बात हो रही थी कि हम एक लॉ या रेगुलेशन के तौर पे बनाए, जैसे ईमा का है कि यूरोपियन कंट्रीज के जितने ममालिक हैं उनके इंपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट, इसी तरह का हम मुसलमान मुल्कों का भी बनाए ताकि अरब कंट्री का एक रीजन होगा। इसी तरह अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज का हम कर सकते हैं, एक रीजनल लेवल पे कर सकते हैं, एक ड्राफ्ट बना सकते हैं, और एक इंटरनेशनल लेवल पर जिसमें तमाम 57 मुस्लिम कंट्री हैं, हम उसका एक फ्रेम बना सकते हैं। जब एक मुल्क के अंदर अप्रूव हो जाए तो फिर दूसरे मुल्क में उसकी जरूरत ना हो। उसके लिए इंशाल्लाह डॉक्टर बैसफ और हम करेंगे, और आई होप कि इसमें मतीन साहब भी हमारी मदद करेंगे ड्राफ्टिंग में, जो इस चीज में बड़े एक्सपर्ट हैं। इस जो मैं ट्रैक के अंदर होता था, और मतीन साहब जो है पाकिस्तान के इसने कंसेप्ट नोट बनाया, पेशेंट सेफ्टी का कंसेप्ट नोट जो है WHO की मतीन साहब ने पहला पेज लिखा था, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हेल्थ ने किया। उस वक्त जो उन्होंने जो स्टीयरिंग कमेटी का कंसेप्ट नोट पेशेंट सेफ्टी में टेक्निकल वर्क ग्रुप का, बाकी जो है इस इदारे में मैं तो मुझे मेरी एक्सपर्टीज को इस्तेमाल करते थे, तो वहाँ की इंडोनेशिया में मीटिंग हो रही थी, तो इकबाल चौधरी साहब जो है वो मेरी एक्सपर्टीज को यूज करते थे, और मतीन साहब उसके लिए काम करते थे। जो फार्मेसी सर्विसेज के मेरे ऑफिसर्स में वो सारे करते थे, और पिशावर से शायद नाम साहब है, दूसरा इसमें हमें मैं फिर रिक्वेस्ट करूँ वैस साहब से, हम बूटली मैं 100% ठीक है सर कह सकता हूँ, ड्राइवर हम मिलके और डॉक्टर वैस साहब मैं और इनकी पुलिस दो दोस्त हैं, हम मिलके एक ड्राफ्ट बना सकते हैं और फिर हम ओआईसी जो जनरल असेंबली मीटिंग है या गद्दा में हमारी मीटिंग होती है उसमें अप्रूव करा के हम इसकी मिलते आज अगर हम शुरू करेंगे तो इंशाल्लाह उसके नतीजे निकलेगा। Draft and farm industry can enhance their relations business to 57 Muslim countries to complete comstech as a bridge. मैं फिर कहूँगा वासिफ साहब हमारा यही है कि पाकिस्तान से क्वालिटी मेडिसिन हो वो 57 मुल्क में एक्सपोर्ट हो और ड्राइव भी और फार्म इंडस्ट्री भी बिजनेस कम्युनिटी भी ड्राइव को इसके ब्रिज के तौर पर इस्तेमाल करें। अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह हमारा 57 मुसलमान दक्षिण अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज के उनके इन्वेस्टर्स कल 10-11 इन्वेस्टर यहाँ तीनों की जो इसमें फंक्शन नीचे उसमें 10-11 इन्वेस्टर हमारा आप जा रहे हैं सोमालिया, इसमें ये सब बता में 3 जो है इनके पुलिस जा रहे हैं सोमालिया में 31 से लेकर 30 फरवरी तक, 31 जनवरी से लेकर 30 फरवरी तक। यकम और 2 को वो सोमालिया वाले आए 1 माह में। आई अप्रिशिएट हारिस साहब एंड माय कलीग हसीब जिन्होंने 1 माह में अरेंज किया और वो हमारे यहाँ से एक्सपर्ट पाकिस्तान जिनको हम जानते नहीं है बस कॉन्सेप्ट की एक्सपर्टीज है कि इस तरह करें। हम एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं मुझे हमारे पुलिस बैठे हुए हैं अल्ताफ फार्मर से सुहेल साहब और इश्तियाक साहब और बाकी पुलिस कि हम आई बैठक की जो है सोमालिया में इंशाल्लाह लास्ट वीक ऑफ फरवरी या फर्स्ट वीक ऑफ मार्च बिफोर रमजान में आई कम इसमें 400 बैठक के आयोजन होंगे। ये जिस 10 दिनों में हफ्तों में और महीनों में जो है ये सारा कुछ काम तो काम तक क्या आप बिस्किट तौर पर इस्तेमाल करें। ड्राइव के लिए भी हम तैयार हैं, फार्म इंडस्ट्री की भी तैयार है और आप जो लोग हैं अपनी एक्सपर्टीज मैं कहूँगा फर्स्ट मैं मुझे जो है सैनिटाइज के लोग हैं उन्होंने मुझे देसी दवाइयों में साइंटिफिक कमेटी के मेंबर बना दिया, मुझे इन्विटेशन आ गया उनकी मीटिंग पे। आप लोग भी जो है आपकी एक्सपर्टीज भी इस्तेमाल हो पाकिस्तान के भी काम बेहतर हो पाकिस्तान से छोड़ दे तो काम तक आप ब्रिज के तौर पर इस्तेमाल करें। मैं सबके लिए है कि आपने रैप की इस कॉन्सेप्ट की किसी ट्यूटी में आकर कॉन्सेप्ट के वेबसाइट पे जाएं आप जिसमें आप रजिस्ट्रेशन को आप कराना चाहे करें और हमने यहाँ खाना जो है हमने हर वक्त की कम से कम 50 लोगों को खाना तैयार रखा तो आप खाना भी खाएं और यहाँ पे किसी सिफारिश की जरूरत नहीं होती और आपको उसके फैसले भी नहीं अपने आप को पे कर सकते। थैंक यू। मुझे दीदी के साथ में मुझसे भी सीनियर है अगर
थैंक यू डॉक्टर नाथ मुझे डायरेक्टर जनरल के तौर पर काम करता हूँ नीचे बताते वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग सेमिनार आई जॉइन लेकिन आपकी प्रेजेंटेशन तो नहीं आपको वहाँ से तो नहीं सुनता लेकिन आपका मैंने पोर्टफोलियो देखा है और पीपीएमएस आई डोंट नो इफ समबडी इज हियर फ्रॉम पीपीएमएस
बेसिकली जो पेपर वाले थे हमने वो फार्म इंडस्ट्री रबर बख्तावी है वो भी फार्म इंडस्ट्री पे
डॉक्टर वासिफ ने थोड़ी सी आपकी जो है बदल इंटरनेट के वजह से जो कंट्रोसेप्टिव प्रोडक्शन है पाकिस्तान में उसके हमारे से थोड़ा सा ट्राई टू यू नो टेक योर अटेंशन। जब मैं डीटी था मिनिस्ट्री में तो आई ट्राइड कुछ हमने मीटिंग कॉल की फार्मास्यूटिकल इंडस्ट्री के लोगों की उसमें बोर्ड ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट भी था ड्राइव भी था और मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ इंडस्ट्री के लोग भी थे। इससे हमें ये इंफॉर्मेशन ऑफ पार्टिसिपेंट हियर हमारे पास मतलब की काफ़ी रेंज है पाकिस्तान में जो पब्लिक सेक्टर में लेकिन इसमें से अगर हम मैन्युफैक्चरिंग पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखें जो गोलियां होती हैं के लिए और इंजेक्शन सिर्फ ये 2 प्रोडक्ट्स हैं जो पाकिस्तान में मैन्युफैक्चर हो रही है जाफा और कुछ और कंपनीज हैं। बाकी जो है आईसीडी कंपनियां वन ऑफ द मोस्ट पॉपुलर और इम्प्लांट्स हैं या कुछ और वो पाकिस्तान में प्रोड्यूस नहीं हो रही मैन्युफैक्चर नहीं हो रही। जहाँ तक मेरा फीडबैक है फार्मास्यूटिकल इंडस्ट्री की तरफ से वी आर वेरी मच इंटरेस्टेड बिकॉज हमारे पास जैसे डॉक्टर ने भी कहा कि 35 करोड़ की आवाम है, 5वां बड़ा मुल्क है तो हमारी तो अपनी ही नीड्स पूरी नहीं हो रही। और अगर हम पूरी करके ले फिर आगे हमारे पास OIC का इतना बड़ा 57 कंट्रीज का एक नेटवर्क है। इसमें मुझे लग रहा है थोड़ा सा कि जो हमारी प्रेजेंटेशन रही है इसमें हमारा फोकस ज्यादातर जो है वो मेडिसिन और सो कॉल्ड जो आपका जो मिशन स्टेटमेंट थी उसमें पेशेंट का लफ्ज आपने यूज किया, क्लाइंट का लफ्ज यूज किया
जी सर,
क्योंकि जैसे मदर प्रेग्नेंट मदर दे आर नॉट पेशेंट्स, दे आर क्लाइंट्स।
एग्रीड।
So I would perhaps suggest कि उसको थोड़ा सा patient से expand करके client तक आप उस पे ला सकें somehow। तो उसमें इसमें जो मेरी सजेशन है मतलब ये तो मैंने भी आपसे किया और डॉक्टर ऋषि साहब ये बैकग्राउंड थी मेरा। आपने जो रिकमेंडेशन आपने दिए हैं दे आर वेरी वेरी मतलब मैं उनको 200% एंडोर्स करता हूँ।
थैंक यू सर।
उसमें उसी के हवाले से मैं थोड़ा सा एक्सपेंड करना चाहूँगा कि अगर इसमें कॉन्स्टेक्ट जो है रोल प्ले कर सके टू लिंक अप लोकल फार्मास्यूटिकल इंडस्ट्री है और जो हमारे OIC कंट्रीज में भी इन्वेस्टर हो सकते हैं जो कि बाद में फिर यहाँ पर प्रोड्यूस होने के बाद अपने कंट्रीज में इंपोर्ट कर सकें। उनका इंटरेस्ट होगा कि यहाँ पर प्रोड्यूस हो उनके कंट्रीज में उनका भी बिजनेस हो और यहाँ पर पाकिस्तान में भी प्रोडक्शन हो। तो इसमें फाइनेंशियल और टेक्निकल कोलैबोरेशन भी हो सकता है कि जो दूसरे कंट्रीज की फर्म जैसे आई डोंट नो इंडोनेशिया और मलेशिया जो है अगर हमारे OIC में शामिल हैं।
ये शामिल है जी, शामिल है।
तो कौन का जो रॉ मटेरियल है वो सारा वहाँ पे प्रोड्यूस होता है और लाइक इस तरह का आपस में टेक्निकल कोलैबोरेशन भी हो सकता है
जी बिल्कुल हो
और
सकता है।
जो है फाइनेंशियल कोलैबोरेशन भी हो सकता है। तो मे बी दिस कैन बी वन ऑफ द एरियाज कॉन्टेक्ट लोकल।
देखिए अभी आपने this conference is limited to pharmaceutical product, but there is a huge industry which is called devices. So a lot of things. For example, we don't even make blood pressure apparatus, nebulizers, syringes. So there are so many things which are not directly medicine, but they are a part of healthcare, which is devices or health technologies. So we plan to do a separate seminar for health technologies with the help of Rashid Saab, and we'll invite the other companies who are making these technology products. So we are not making a lot of technology products right now in Pakistan. We should make, we could make, this is not a rocket science because we could do a lot of things in this country which we are importing. So that still is a huge import bill, maybe up to 300, 400, 500 million dollars of import we are doing for syringes and PPF apparatus and nebulizers, which are very easy to make. So we'll plan to do a separate for that purpose. That my presentation covers this point. Yeah, my coming presentation covers all these points. So with this topic will be covered.
जी
Already.
और मे बी आई डोंट नो इन फ्यूचर अगर आप सोचते हैं कि कोई जो टेक्निकल कोलैबोरेशन बिटवीन OIC कंट्रीज से बड़ा सेमिनार
See, that's what Rashid sir said. We are working on that.
और एक छोटा सा कमेंट मैं सर ऐड करना चाहता था जिसमें कि मेरा एक्सपीरियंस शायद में मतलब रिटायर होने से पहले तो खैर ऑफिसर ऑफ मिनिस्ट्री था, लेकिन रिटायर होने के बाद भी मुझे एज कंसल्टेंट में काम कर रहा हूँ एक सोशल मार्केटिंग की कंपनी के साथ। तो डायरेक्ट जाने का एक्सपीरियंस वो आदमी लोग सबको है बहुत ही नाइस आदमी है। डॉक्टर बैग यहाँ पे देखिए सकते हैं, ये पीछे मेरे बहुत फुली पेटेंट ऑपरेशन से बहुत सालों पुरानी मतलब शिनाख्ताई है। डॉक्टर बदर है, डॉक्टर बाबर है और अपने वेरी सॉलिड। तो ड्रैग के अंदर मुझे कभी कोई ऐसा मसला नजर नहीं आया तो वहाँ पे इनकॉर्पोरेशन या ऐसी कोई फीलिंग नहीं। थैंक यू।
That is basically medicine and devices both. That covers both.
इसलिए मैंने थेरेप्यूटिक गुड्स का इस्तेमाल किया था, ला के ड्राई पैड के अंदर कवर है। अब मैं जी नवीद को पूछना चाहते हैं, एनी क्वेश्चन प्लीज। कई चीजें जो हैं आपको मेरे सवालों का ये जो बाकी जो होंगे वो उबैद साहब जवाब दे देंगे, उनकी प्रेजेंटेशन में आ जाएंगे, हमें पता है प्रेजेंटेशन में क्या है जी।
प्रेजेंटेशन में 2 घंटे सवाल
नहीं बस उसके अंदर जवाब है ना।
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Doctor. No? Okay, now I would like to invite Dr. Ubaidullah, Director, Division of Pharmacy Services, DREP, for his presentation on the pharmaceutical sector, Pakistan's landscape. Please, sir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, and thank you very much, organizers, for inviting DREP, so many people from DREP here. So ये जो presentation है मैं सबकी तरफ से दे रहा हूँ, सब मेरे साथ शामिल होंगे इंशाल्लाह. The title of presentation is Regulatory Landscape of Therapeutic Goods in Pakistan. जो बहुत सारी बातें मैं करना चाह रहा हूँ, डॉक्टर रशीद साहब ने कुछ बातें कर ली, कुछ सीओ साहब ने कर ली, और इवन जो फर्स्ट स्लाइड मेरी होगी वो डॉक्टर वकार मसूद ने ऑलरेडी प्रेजेंट कर दी. लेकिन एनी हाउ, पर्पस ऑफ दिस प्रेजेंटेशन is to apprise all the persons sitting here and all the colleagues जो हमारे साथ online भी हैं, to what is the regulatory landscape of therapeutic goods in Pakistan. The term therapeutic goods has been explained by Dr. Rashid Saab that it covers all those commodities which are being used for the treatment of a patient are called therapeutic goods. So I start my presentation from the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goal. These are the UN SDGs, and there are 17 SDGs which by and large are agreed by all the member countries of the UN. And we can see that SDG number 3, which Dr. Masood has also said, that is regarding good health and well-being. Well-being यहाँ पे नहीं लिखा हुआ, but good health and well-being is the SDG 3, meaning thereby that all the persons living in this, on this earth, must have approach to good health. Now, what is good health? Good health doesn't mean treatment of disease. Good health means such a situation that all the persons वो एक अच्छी जिंदगी गुजार सकें, it's called good health and well-being as well. But the SDG 3.8, which is directly related with any national regulatory authority, that is access to safe, effective, and quality, affordable, essential medicines and vaccines for all. So by and large, any regulatory authority which is working in any part of the world should have only one motto, and that is the access to safe, effective, quality, and affordable essential medicines and vaccine for all. But we should see that it is not mentioned availability of drugs. And why it is not availability? It has been mentioned as access, because there is difference between access and availability. Might be drug is available, but if that therapeutic good is not accessible for the general public at affordable price, meaning thereby it is not accessible. So by and large, every government is responsible for the provision of safe, effective, and quality medicines access. And this was already shared by the Dr. Waqar Masood Saab as well, that being signatory, Pakistan is working on this agenda as well. Now the question is, why regulation is important? टॉफियों की तो रेगुलेशन नहीं है टॉफियों बनाने की, फूड की रेगुलेशन अब स्टार्ट हुई है इसी हद तक, बट व्हाई रेगुलेशन इज इंपॉर्टेंट इन pharmaceutical or therapeutic good. Present day regulations in any part of the world that has been drafted after thalidomide tragedy. We must all know that thalidomide is a drug which is being used as of today as well. Previously, it was used in 1960s era for by the ladies for the morning sickness. And the patients who were born to these ladies were with deformed bones. So it was thought, and it was realized at that time that there is some problem with the approval of the medicine. And then present day regulation was drafted, starting from the clinical trials up to the pharmacovigilance. It's not only the clinical trial, किसी दवाई की approval से पहले clinical trial होने चाहिए, because clinical trial is being done on a very specific cohort of persons, 3,000, 4,000, to have complete data pharmacovigilance is done. So regulation is very important for any therapeutic drug which is being approved by any national regulatory authority. So it is an overall scenario. First two slides, why SDGs are important, and this slide is regarding the why regulation is important. Now coming to the Pakistan scenario, and I will link this Pakistan scenario with the OIC member countries and way forward as well. Dr. Saab has already shared this regulatory journey, that it was Indian Drug Act 1940 and then 76 Drug Act, which was the law of the land till devolution. Devolution meant it was decided by the constitution to devolve everything to the provinces. But unfortunately, there were two incidences in the country. One was in the Punjab Institute of Cardiology. Another one is the adulteration of some cum syrup, and that medicine safety issues led to the establishment of DRAP, and then DRAP Act was promulgated on 13th November 2012. So if we see, there is clear demarcation of responsibility between the federal government and provincial governments. Holistically, and if we see world over, in 90% or 95% of the world, जो भी मेडिसिन रेगुलेशन है वो सेंट्रली मॉनिटर्ड होता है always, but हमारा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ये कहता है that provincial governments are also responsible, might be because we are a fifth largest country of the world, so there are some components जहाँ पे provincial intervention required है. So all these activities, manufacturing, registration, so on the left side, these are being supervised by the DRAP on behalf of federal government and responsible for this component of sale, storage and distribution. But at the same time, there are some joint responsibility of both governments as well. That is the post-marketing surveillance on both parts. Now, what is this post-marketing surveillance? This includes quality testing by the laboratories and pharmacovigilance studies by the both parts. So it is total regulatory framework by which we work in our country, and by and large, in any regulatory authority, now I'm talking with the perspective of OIC, that all these activities are being done by all regulatory authorities of the world, even in OIC countries, no matter whether it is done by the national authorities or by the provincial authorities as well. But in one way or another way, it is being done. We discussed a lot about the therapeutic good before DRAP Act. Drug Act 1976 was the law of the land, and we were regulating only drugs and medicines, meaning thereby allopathic drugs, जिसको आम अल्फाज में कहा जाता है, pharmaceuticals and biologicals. But after the establishment of DRAP, now we are regulating alternate medicine, devices, HOTC, and medicated cosmetics as well, and all the activities, manufacture, import, export, so and so. We talk about our vision as well. Just how we developed in DRAP, we developed our vision. Basically, in the government during the 2013 to 18, they developed health vision, and that health vision was by the 2025. And at that same time, because DRAP was established, so we developed our vision, health for all by 2025, through access to medicine, contributing an advancement in universal health system at that time. And what is our mission? Working as a highly professional regulatory authority through effective management, regulation, and enforcement. One. Second, we can see
therapeutic goods, affordable prices, and earliest availability of new treatment opportunity for the people of Pakistan. डॉक्टर साहब ने एक जिक्र किया इसका कि जी 2 साल से restrictions नहीं होती हैं. He is right. दुनिया के कौन सा मुल्क है जहाँ पे priority को छोड़ के restrictions होती हैं? Restriction is done always for the betterment of people. We do admit that pharmaceutical industry is our counterpart, is our stakeholder. We should protect their interest as well. But at the same time, because our mission says that we will register that drug on priority, which is being needed by the public as well. So anyhow, so it's our vision and mission, and these are our core values. Right now, what our CEO has said in his presentation, we are right now revolving and designing all of our policies and everything around these 6 core values. What are these core values? Automation. A slide आपको आज बताऊंगा. Transparency. Now, transparency can't be achieved without automation. In today's era, if any person expects that we will achieve transparency through manual processes, so it's next to impossible. So automation is the hallmark coupled with transparency. Evidence-based decision making. It's very important in today's era. What is the evidence-based decision making? एक है जी सुनी सुनाई बातें, एक है decision supported by scientific evidences, and this evidence-based decision is decision supported by the scientific evidences. Now, evidence-based decision making is very important. अगर आज हम देखें how the World National Regulatory Authority works, they work in collaboration and coordination. One. Second, it's not always that every country do every activity by its own self. There is the reliance mechanism. Like if a clinical trial has been done in Canada or Europe, being the national regulatory authority, we have a system that we rely on their decision at the same time because we have a coordination mechanism. But all those scenarios in which we are taking some indigenous decision, we do the clinical trials, and after the clinical trials, we approve or disapprove or reject or defer the drug. Another one is the regulatory reliance, collaboration, harmonization. I will share how we are doing collaboration and harmonization and continuous improvement. So these are our 6 core values. I am not saying that we have achieved everything, but at least I assure you that we are already on path of achieving all these things. These are the strategic priorities. Goal 1, optimize regulatory system, better informed user, strengthening internal capabilities and access to health products by all. And again, these strategic priorities we developed for 5 years. Now we are in 2024. Other day, in our authority meeting, we were discussing we should outline what we have achieved and what is still pending for all the purposes, anything. So it is the Pakistan Health Organizational Structure, and you can see that Drug Regulatory Authority Pakistan, along with 26 other departments, are working under National Health Services Regulation. And this part, it is the provincial government. Every provincial government has health department looking after the drug control administration itself. Now, DRAG is supervising all these activities as well. Now, it is our organizational structure. We have a board, policy board. CEO is our organizational head. We have 13 divisions. You can see the divisions which have been marked in blue color. These were divisions which DRAG से पहले भी exist करते थे. These are the divisions with different color which emerged after DRAG, and these are the supporting divisions. So there are 13 divisions, 5 technical divisions, and 8 technical divisions and 5 supporting division. And we can see registration, licensing, quality assurance, health and OTC product, nutraceutical, probiotics, control drug for the International Quality Control Board, biological, pharmacy services, costing, and where is the medical devices? Here it is. So Professor Sahab was saying about the medical devices, there is a segment as well. So it's a 4-tier approach. How we work? किसी भी regulatory authority ने अपना एक mechanism बनाया होता है how they work. But for all these quantities जो मैंने discuss की, pharmaceutical, biological, health and OTC product, devices, it's a 4-tier approach. We do 4 activities, and these 4 activities covers all the regulatory aspects of a therapeutic good. From water, we can start licensing. Whenever there is a manufacturing, local manufacturing, there is the licensing. Licensing has steps: site verification, layout approval, inspection, license and renewal. So it's a life cycle that starting from the site approval up to the grant of license, which is valid for 5 years, it is being done by the DRAP. Now, DRAP is not only the body who do all these activities. DRAP works in coordination with the provincial governments. DRAP works in coordination with various experts. Now, what are these experts? Like for all these activities, it's not the decisions of the DRAP only. Their DRAP works with statutory boards. For licensing, it is the licensing board. Registration board is for the drug registration. For the pharmacovigilance, it is a pharmacovigilance risk expert assessment committee. For the clinical trial, clinical study committee. For the medical device, it's another board. For the health and OTC, EEC, enlistment evaluation committee. So the DRAP works as a secretariat for all these committees. Similarly, there is a pricing board as well. और कुछ पता अगर है तो committee boards कोई है तो नहीं गई. Advertisement as well, committee on advertisement as well. So all these boards and committees has secretariat in DRAP, but experts are from all over the academia, medical fields, manufacturing industry, provincial governments, they are the part of the working of the DRAP. So for any purpose like licensing, inspection, it is being done by the DRAP people, but assisted by all other experts as well. Similarly, registration and enlistment. Registration is for the pharmaceuticals, enlistment is for the health and OTC products. Similarly, medical devices. Medical devices has 4 components, class A to class D. We are regulating right now C and D or A or B. Which one we are regulating? CD. The most stringent or most important. And with the passage of time, we will enlist rest as well. Similarly, after the registration, now what is how registration is being done? Application, evaluation, technical board, whatever it is, and then it is registration and renewal. So for the purpose of the pharmaceuticals, previously क्या था DRAP के बनने से पहले तमाम commodities we were registering on the same format. Medical device syringe को भी हम registration के perspective में देखते थे. HOTC को भी हमने registration के तौर पे किया. लेकिन after the establishment of DRAP, everything we categorize and as per international practices. Like if it is a pharmaceutical, then it will be done on the common technical document. But if it is the enlistment of the product, then it requires less data. For the medical devices, एक और component है. So right now, I have only mentioned the name of the process. Process is separate. All these processes are mentioned on our website. After the approval, then there is a surveillance mechanism. Very important for any regulatory authority. Because this surveillance is important from the public health perspective. Meaning thereby, the drug or therapeutic good which is being available to any patient, whether that is of quality and of the same standards, जो कि approve हुए हैं या नहीं हुए, it is called surveillance. Now inspection, sampling, lab testing, reporting, and regulatory action. Now this activity is not being done by the DRAP alone. It is assisted by the provincial government as well. At time कहा जाता है why there is a 2 separate mechanism, but now I think because we are a country, very big country, 5th largest country of the world. So might be if DRAP के लिए alone possible नहीं है ये तमाम काम करना. That's why this activity is being done, and mostly it is being done by the provincial governments. And at the same time, we have a lab network for the testing of the drugs as well that I will share with you. And most of these labs, rather, one lab is by the federal government, and all the rest laboratories are by the provincial governments. And last and very important is the pharmacovigilance. Pharmacovigilance is basically adverse drug reaction monitoring. Again, repeating that when any drug is approved by any regulatory authority of the world, highest, अगर हम किसी regulatory authority को rank करते हैं तो United States of America है, European Medicine Agency है. Any drug is approved by any regulatory authority on the basis of the clinical trial data, or clinical trial data maximum जो होता है वो certain 1,000 subjects होते हैं. At that moment of time, no one knows that when this drug will go into the market for the use in patients, large population, what will be the adverse reactions जो कि controlled environment से actual environment में जाते हैं. So that is called pharmacovigilance. and it's very important. हमारे पास many examples हैं that pharmacovigilance, on the basis of this pharmacovigilance data, drugs have been withdrawn from the market. And the example, rofecoxib is one of them. Many vaccines have been withdrawn. So ranitidine is another example, and so many drugs are जो कि दुनिया में withdrawn. So it is basically 4 tiers approach, and this 4-tier approach covers the whole life cycle of the product. Life cycle approach, it's a new word which is used by the regulatory authorities. Life cycle approach means that the start of the product and after the expiry of the product, all the things are called life cycle approach. So it's a 4-tier approach which is being done by our NRA as well. It is the updated regulatory statistics right now that in our country, there are 621 pharmaceutical units responsible for the manufacturing of pharmaceutical and biologicals. For the nutraceutical health products, 530, 73 medical devices units. That's आप कह रहे थे ना devices वाला component. Still, this component is not being included. जो सियालकोट की industry हमारी शामिल है, because that surgical devices are least regulated across the world. It is being regulated, जो कि अभी होना है. So these 73 medical devices industries are those industries जो कि class C and D में fall करती हैं. Class A and D की अभी शामिल नहीं है. But अगर we include all those industries, that now what is the medical device? Starting from the walking sticks up to the high resolution MRIs and CT scans, all these are the medical devices. So right now 73 units are there. At the same time, these are the medical importers, pharmaceuticals, health and OTC and devices. These are the registered drugs, 76,000 registered drugs. These are the HOTC product and these are the medical devices. So all these covered human and veterinary as well. It's not only human. These cover veterinary as well. So it is the whole regulatory landscape just right now we are working. And you can see, जैसे सर ने डॉक्टर साहब ने ऋषि साहब ने एक वर्ड यूज किया कि we are the 5th largest country in the world and largest population in the Emro region. And with all these statistics, we were in a meeting in Emro, और वहाँ पे Pakistan and Egypt are the countries जो कि lead कर रहे हैं population में and in pharmaceutical sector as well. So by and large, we have huge potential. Right now, Dr. Waqar Masood has also said that we are right now meeting the need of our country by producing about 80% of our drugs by our own self. So it's a very big thing that we are producing all these drugs. And if we now focus on the exports, by and large, in my opinion, this figure is sufficient for our local needs, except high-tech products. So now we should focus, being regulatory authority, being pharmaceutical manufacturer, on those parameters जिससे हम exports में जा सकें, हम OIC को strengthen कर सकें. It's all about the regulatory statistics. Now last 3 points. Clinical trial studies, we have approved 72, sites 95. Basically, this clinical trial, although it is being done in Pakistan since last 20 years, but we approved this biostudy rule after their draft. Biostudy rules are in 2019 or 2018. So by and large, these are the studies and these are the sites. Other day, I was discussing with my colleagues. Right now, it is being perceived that ये जो clinical trials करते हैं, these are only studies. Let's go beyond this. And now we are working, and inshallah, जब भी next presentation को मौका मिलेगा, तो Ehsan is working on that. We will share with you that what is the outcome of 72 studies. Whether these are only experimental or have we got any benefits. I will share 2 examples with you. We conducted one study, women trial, tranexamic acid, in the PPH, postpartum hemorrhage. And on the basis, that was a very big clinical trial. And on the basis of that clinical trial, what was the outcome? That WHO has amended its prescribing information. So I think now it is a contribution. At the same time, in core values, we discussed evidence-based decision making. In COVID-19, there was a very large clinical trial in Pakistan, phase 3 clinical trial of cancer biologics. On the basis of that clinical trial, at that time, me and Abdullah was the part of registration, and that study was approved by Dr. Rashid Saab. He was director at that time, and 18,000 trials, phase 3 trial results were published in somewhere in Canada, good journal, and being regulatory authority, we at the registration board approved that product, and then 6 other countries approved, meaning thereby it's not only the clinical trial. We should realize that, and we should admit that what is the outcome of this clinical trial, that is the approval of the drug or rejection of the drug as well. So we are working on that we should do. Now the point of discussion right now here, that at time we discussed that we should compete with our neighboring country, other neighboring countries and China as well for the pharmaceutical manufacturing and export as well. So शायद मेरी understanding में it's a bit difficult, नामुमकिन कतई नहीं है. But here in clinical trial, there is a much scope that our hospitals, our Khan is by the way leading hospital who is doing the clinical trial, we can compete all across the world. Why I am saying so? Because we unfortunately, I am using the term unfortunately, we have a highest population of the metabolic diseases. Diabetes, that is 30% of our population is the diabetic. Similarly, hypertension and so many other diseases. At the same time, we have very good hospitals as well. So we can progress, we can work in this as well. But importantly, we need now being regulatory authority, it's not our job to convince the people to do the trial. It is the job of the academic institutions, medical institutions, to come up at a level where we can assist these these institutions to have some clinical trials approved. So these are regulatory statistics. 68,000 pharmacies are working, and it is in 68,000 pharmacies retail outlets. 7,000 are the distributor, which has been shared by the Dr. Shisa. So it is overall regulatory statistics, and we can see that this is an evolving phase, meaning that by next time when you will hear, then definitely medical devices will be, number will be more, HOTC number will be much more. So it's overall regulatory scenario in our country. During last 10 years, DRAP has done some restructuring, like legislation. We have amended all of our legislations, starting from licensing up to the clinical trial. We have amended our legislation. Digitization, we have almost near to the digitization. Some of our processes have been done, like already shared by our CEO in the morning, import, export, restriction application, and so many, and some are in the process of that. And then in quality part, right now, still we have not achieved the benchmark, truly speaking. When we will achieve this benchmarking, then definitely our products will be exported to the regulated market as well. And this quality benchmarking achievement cannot be done alone by the DRAP. Industry is our partner, because it's true to Claire. अगर हम ऐसे करते रहेंगे तो सिर्फ हमारे हाथ ही हिलाते रहेंगे, ताली नहीं बजेगी. ताली बजाने के लिए ना, let's go together. And it's very important from our national. Right now, what is our problem? That we are constrained with our dollar reservoirs. And how can we achieve our life? Due to some of our activities, as shared by our CEO, that our export has been increased from 300 to up to $700 million, but still a very long way to go, very long way to go. So all these activities are being done by the DRAP. We are still on the phase of improvement, but it cannot be only achieved only by the DRAP activities. It will be coupled only by the help of the industry as well. Very important slide, and it is a futuristic slide. It is not only for the DRAP, it is not only for the Pakistan, it is for all the OIC member countries. Like, world is a global village right now. And when we talk about the global village, it means that we should not reinvent the wheel. By the way, हमारे एक बहुत सीनियर फार्मासिस्ट हैं, उस्तादों के उस्ताद हैं, डॉक्टर खोकर, वो ये कहते हैं पाकिस्तानीज आर वेरी एक्सपर्ट इन रीइन्वेंटिंग द व्हील्स. So meaning thereby जो दुनिया काम कर चुकी है हम भी वो करने के बड़े शौकीन हैं, उसी को रिपीट करने के. Please don't reinvent the wheel. In draft now we since last 5, 6, 7 years we are on this phase that जो दुनिया कर रही है वही हम कर लें. But the problem is industry हमारी ये चाहती है कि let's do in a such a way जैसे हम चाहें. If you want to figure at the international market, then you need to do जैसे दुनिया कर रही है. Now these are some of the activities, international activities for any national regulatory authority, that if any country want to be at the international level, then they are supposed to do all these things. दुनिया के जिन ममालिक ने LMICs ने internationally pharmaceutical में figure out हुई हैं, they have done these things. Otherwise, there is no way, because it's a time of globalization. If you are doing something different, then you have to prove that I have done correctly. Like, what are these activities? Start from the bottom left, that WHO benchmark. Now, there are two types of regulatory authorities in the world. Rather, two types of countries in the world. One with a stringent mechanism, regulatory mechanism. Another one with weak regulatory mechanism. So, for the weak regulatory mechanism authorities, for the first category, जो दुनिया के stringent regulatory authorities के ममालिक हैं, उन्होंने तो अपना एक सिस्टम बना लिया है और वो सिस्टम WHO के स्टैंडर्ड से बराबर है या ऊपर है. For LMICs, WHO has established global benchmarking tool, जो कि हमारे CEO ने भी सुबह शेयर किया, that we are in the phase of maturity level 2 and 3. 3 is a functional level authority, 4 is advanced. So right now we are working, and any country, any national regulatory authority which have been declared at maturity level 3, meaning thereby that it has, what is maturity level 1? Maturity level 1 means that this regulatory authority has no system. 2, system exists, but system is reactive. Reactive means the system कोई established system नहीं है. अगर कोई आफत आती है, कोई problem आती है, तो फिर ये लोग जाग उठते हैं. It's called reactive system. And level 3 means functional level system, that they are prepared for any calamity, any emergency. So right now, Pakistan is in between maturity level 2 and 3. And we are hoping that by the 2024 and or 2025 early, we will be able, inshallah, to achieve maturity level 3. But at the same time, if we see OIC countries, then it's good news for us as well that only 2 countries in the world has achieved maturity level 4, and one is Saudi Arabia. So we can be OIC, sir, आपके लिए सर कि हम उसको सऊदी अरेबिया के मॉडल को सामने रखते हुए बाकी मेंबर कंट्रीज को आगे ले जा सकते हैं. At the same time, if we talk about the maturity level 3, Turkey, Egypt for vaccine, and Indonesia for the vaccine, they have also achieved maturity level 3. So they are advanced. So what we were discussing in the tea break, that we should have some collaborative efforts in OIC countries, so we can take the examples and guidance from these countries, Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Indonesia, to Turkey. Iran is not level 3, but that is in the PICs that I was sharing that. So we can have some excellence from these. So we can have some good things. So it is about the level 3. Now comes the PICs. PICs is the GMP inspection. What the Hassan Afzal shared, that our inspectors have been trained on the format of PICs. PICs is a gold standard for the GMP auditing, Pharmaceutical Inspection Cooperation Scheme. We are on the phase of that. It took about 3 to 4 years that we shifted from pre-applicant to the applicant stage. So we are on the, now if we see, Iran is a PICS member, Malaysia is a PICS member, और कौन से मुस्लिम ममालिक हैं? Turkey is a PICS member. Good. So we can, and it is the harmonized inspection scheme. There are 59 or 60 member countries जो कि PICS में हैं और उनकी inspection across the globe accept होती हैं. If any manufacturing unit is being inspected by any PICS member, meaning thereby their audit facility will, their manufacturing facility will not be audited by the rest of the world. So it's very important, and we are expecting that in coming 3 to 4 years, इंशाल्लाह पाकिस्तान भी ब्रिक्स मेंबर हो जाएगा, provided that हमने अपने पेस को स्लो न किया तो. Again, what is the right now hindrance? Hindrance is that we need to amend our legislation, and for this we need the assistance of our industry as well. That it's not only कि regulatory authority upgrade हो, industry को भी upgrade होना पड़ेगा for the BRICS membership. Next one is the common technical document, and truly speaking, इस पे pride लेने की बात है that Pakistan has transformed its registration system from the conventional system to the common technical document, which is being accepted across the globe. So if any company has developed a pharmaceutical dossier on the common technical document, their dossier can be accepted to the world. Now, what is only lacking? That is the bioequivalence study that we need to do. Similarly, we are the member of WHO collaborative registration procedure for the pharmacovigilance. We are the member of the Upsala Monitoring Center, so we report to them. And for the devices, we are the Asian Harmonization Working Party. So for the medical devices, regulation is altogether different. In medical devices, it's not the regulatory authority to take the lead. There are two working groups working in the world. One is the GHTF, Global Harmonization Task Force. Another one is the Asian Harmonization Working Party. These two consortiums develop the standards for the rest of the world. So we are the member of AHWT, but the local manufacturing to come forward up to these levels, definitely it needs capacity building of the draft as well, capacity building of the industry as well. It's very much needed. Sir, आपने एक बात की ना manufacturing की context में. Now, जो domestic manufacturing of the devices है, previously it was only the Sialkot, then our syringes and cannulas catheters. Now there is a facility for the rapid testing kit. Another facility which is being established for the initial assembling of ECG, BP monitors, glucometers, that is being in the process, and I was being told that within 6 months it will be commissioned ho jayega. So we are on the track, but definitely it takes technology advancements for everything. And last one is the WHO pre-qualified laboratories. Pakistan is the only country in the region where 6 WHO pre-qualified labs are there. We have these labs have been accredited by the WHO, but at the same time, 6 labs are still in the phase of that. So it is the basic spectrum that if we want to go international, हम अगर चाहते हैं that our scenarios should be at the level of international, then we should go. नदीम साहब मेरे टीचर हैं, तो सर मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा सर अपना
मेरे साथ
मेरे फार्मेसी के टीचर हैं. Welcome, sir. So it is the international harmonization spectrum where we are going right now. And if we talk about the OIC member countries, then definitely there is no other way except this कि हम इसको follow. So these are the reference regulatory authorities which we discussed, that there are 2 ways, either to rely on the decision of these regulatory authorities or to do some evidence-based decision on the basis of indigenous manufacturing. It is the WHO assessment. WHO assessment for the level 2, level 3, we have already done. It's not an easy process. We started from 2019 and our last audit was done in 2023, where we were ranked between 2 and 3. Now for all you people, they are again coming in March. So get prepared for that as well. And we are hoping that inshallah, after achieving this, our level will be increased, our acceptance at the international level will be increased. And again, for the OIC member countries, we should work together for all these assessments. We should take the guidance from the Saudi Arabia, we should take guidance from the Indonesia and Egypt as well. Level 4, it is for the medicine and vaccine for the Saudi Arabia. For the Indonesia and Egypt, it is only for the vaccine. It is in the 9 areas, all the regulatory functions where we are right now. Now it is a quality management system. We are an ISO certified organization. Recently, now credit goes to this guy, Mateen, that he is the pioneer and for the pharmacovigilance activities he is leading. And we have published our 2 newsletters, and inshallah it will be a now regular feature. The point which I was discussing with you, that registration is being accepted internationally. That's a good sign for DRAP as well. And it is the accreditation by the United States Pharmacopoeia that Pakistan adopts international standards for assessing the registration of the medicine. So you can take all these things, that it's an important thing. Now, the point which have been shared by our Dr. Rashid Saab, definitely we must admit there are still a lot of improvement we can be required, and that can only be done by the automation. No other way that we can do it is manually. In COVID-19, our team of the DRAP was part of the international team who assessed the Moderna vaccine for the pre-qualification, and that was appreciation by them. But these are some constrained resources. One good thing is that partially we have been shifted to our own building, and by the end of March, inshallah, our whole office will be shifted. So infrastructure constraint है किसी हद तक बेहतर हो जाएगा, but capacity building for the regulatory and industry is very important. We are discussing, and all those things, all those commodities which are related with the science, they can't be remain stagnant, both for the regulator and for the industry. It is an ever emerging thing. Without that, it's not possible कि हम अपने आप को upgrade करें. To align ourselves with the international commodity, international regulators, we should increase regulator. And sir, in my opinion, comstech can take the lead for all these things, sir. Sure. Purpose-built infrastructure. In the process of that, infrastructure, there are some challenges as well. That I have shared, that harmonization of the provincial chapters, because sales, storage, distribution, right now it is in the provinces as well. Still, we are in the phase of harmonizing our activities with the provinces, because Punjab has some different laws, Sindh has some different laws. We are in the phase of quality management system. And until unless we will not be able to do this, level 3 is there. God forbid, it will be a dream. Communication with the reference authorities, upgrading the pharmaceutical sector through technology transfer and global harmonization activities. Now, अगर आप मुझसे पूछें कि ड्रैप को किधर होना चाहिए, तो ये मेरे लिए एक, बल्कि हम सब के लिए एक, ये spectrum है, that these are our targets, inshallah. First, WHO listed authority. That if we will be WHO listed authority, then definitely our international ranking will be improved. Very importantly, if we will be a WHO listed authority and pharmaceutical inspection for PICS member, then most of the countries will not come to Pakistan for auditing of our facilities. जब भी हम कोई सिनेरियो देखें तो उसको हम होलिस्टिक देखें, सोलो फ्लाइट में ना देखें. It's not only the drug regulatory authority जिसकी वजह से एक्सपोर्ट्स नहीं करें. Please, हमारा ecosystem is not good. Why? At times, international regulators don't come to Pakistan for the security reason. They don't come to the Pakistan that we are not going to go to the Peshawar due to some other reasons. So if we will achieve all these WHO status and PIC status, then in my opinion, that one GMP component is already addressed. For exports, there are 3 components which are very important. One, how is your dossier prepared? How is your product? If you have prepared your product on common technical document, then you can say that you have some international documentation for the dossier. मैं ये कतई नहीं कहता that it is up to the level of USFDA, but you are on the track of that. You can improve your dossier, but you are already on track. Second part is the GMP, good manufacturing practice. If you are we are the member of the PICS or WHO accredited, then GMP is certified. And third one is the pharmacovigilance data. If you have the pharmacovigilance data, ADR data with you, duly reported to your national regulatory authority, then your dossier will be accepted internationally. Otherwise, ये $1 billion हमारा शायद ड्रीम ही रहेगा. इसलिए जो इंडस्ट्री टाइम एंड अगेन हमें कहती है कि आप अपने स्टैंडर्ड्स को नीचे रखें. इंडस्ट्री हमें कहती है कि that DRAP is so very rigid, very stringent, that is an international requirement. At the same time, जो बात डॉक्टर साहब ने अपनी प्रेजेंटेशन में की, I do admit there are some problems, not problems, capacity enhancement is essential. Sir ने एक बात की that there are two assessors with different thoughts. Yes, that was my point as well when I was looking at the registration. But at the same time, जब वो दोनों चीजें चली जाती हैं registration board पे वहाँ पे address हो जाती हैं. लेकिन हमें अपनी कैपेसिटी को इस तरीके से आगे ले जाना पड़ेगा. नेक्स्ट वन इज WHO pre-qualification lab, functional pharmacovigilance system. We have started pharmacovigilance activities, but still a long way to go. Pakistan, such a big country, but the reporting of ADR is very less due to various factors, due to awareness as well, due to healthcare professional overload as well, due to social stigma as well. If any ADR is reported by healthcare professional, once I discuss with healthcare professional, why you don't report the ADR? तो देखा यार अखबार में नाम तो नहीं लिखवाना ना मैंने अपना कि when we report ADR अखबारी नुमाइंदा लिख देता जी फलानी दवाई की वजह से reaction हुआ. Now drugs are double-edged sword. It has these are basic chemicals or biologicals with positive therapeutic activity. To adverse reaction, if we take so much water, then we will be from hydronephrosis. पानी पीने से भी आपको adverse reaction होता है या कुछ वो side effects होते हैं. So these are chemicals, adverse drugs होंगे, and for that purpose हमारा pharmacovigilance system should be very much functional. Complete automation of the regulation. Partial automation नहीं, complete automation. Until and unless we don't have this system, it will be very difficult for us to be on the international figure. And last one and very important, which has been discussed almost by every speaker, starting from Dr. Waqar Masood, our CEO, Professor Iqbal Chaudhary, Wasir Saab, that is the API manufacturing, that we should have self-reliance. Iran has done a wonderful job with this. They are manufacturing. Bangladesh is on the track of that. But basic lacking is it's not only the active pharmaceutical ingredient, because these active pharmaceutical ingredients are basically chemicals. We don't have strengthened chemical industry in the Pakistan. If we have a strengthened chemical industry, then API is linked with that. And at the same time, biologicals and vaccines manufacturing. Such a big country, 5th largest country of the world, and still we are importing our indigenous, we are importing our vaccines from abroad. So it's a big thing. We should focus on the technology transfer. We should come forward. So it was all about the national education. Any question, any discussion?
Sir, import export के बारे में मेरा क्वेश्चन है. विदेश के बारे में तो आपने बता दिया कि CTD डोजियर जो ही हमने लॉन्च किया है, तो उसमें हमारी एक्सपोर्ट बेहतर होगी. तो API में अभी डॉक्टर साहब ने एक स्लाइड दी है कि 5% जो है हमारी इंपोर्ट API की. तो अगर ये क्या वजह है सर कि आज तक हम क्यों प्रोड्यूस नहीं कर सके, हमारे पास का पोटेंशियल नहीं है कि एटलीस्ट 95% से हम लेस क्यों नहीं कर सके?
देखें इशू जो इम्पोर्टेंट है, अगेन मैंने अभी जो लास्ट बात की कि API फार्मास्यूटिकल इंग्रेडिएंट्स हैं, these are basically chemicals. So until unless we will not have a good chemical industry, नफा क्रैका नहीं होगा, we will not be able. एक नहीं. Second, मुझे कभी ये भी नजर आता है that we don't have it. I give an example of sodium chloride. Largest reservoirs of sodium chloride is in Pakistan, but we are importing injectable grade sodium chloride from Germany. So हमें definitely investor को भी साइड पे आना होगा, regulatory authority को भी जिसको facilitation में आना होगा. But again, it's not, when I talk about regulatory authority, it's not only DRAP. There are 6 regulatory authorities who are doing, who are responsible for the API manufacturing. DRAP 1, State Bank 2nd, FDR 3rd, Engineering Development Board 4th, because Board of Investment 5th one, and एक और इदारा भी है. जब तक ये तमाम इदारे फोकस होके नहीं करेंगे, ये नहीं होगा. एंड इन्वेस्टर्स को भी इस साइड पे फोकस होके डिस्कशन करनी पड़ेगी, एंड इट इज वेरी मच नीडेड. कुछ लोग ये भी कहते हैं बिकॉज हमारा डोमेस्टिक बेस इतना बड़ा नहीं है जितना चाइना और इंडिया का, दैट्स व्हाई वी आर नॉट एबल टू कम्पीट. देन माय आंसर वुड ये होता है, हाउ ईरान एंड बांग्लादेश आर डूइंग, दे आर डूइंग देयर ओन सेल्फ.
दूसरा सर दूसरा सर ये फिनिश जो प्रोडक्ट्स हैं इसमें आपने एक स्लाइड शो की कि ड्रग इम्पोर्टेंट आपने रिपोर्ट बनी थी और तो 2019 मेरे ख्याल से सीटीडी लॉन्च हुआ था तो इसके बाद सर कोई इम्प्रूवमेंट आई है एक्सपोर्ट में हमारी
Harbiyan is our leading manufacturer. 5-6 months back, Harbiyan की management कुछ लोग गए हुए थे. They were saying the dossier which we are submitting in Pakistan, same dossier is being accepted by Central. मैं कतई नहीं कहता that these dossiers will be accepted by US FDA or Canada. But देखिए दुनिया में अगर रेगुलेटरी के सिनेरियो देखें 3 तरह के रेगुलेटरी ब्लॉक्स हैं. वन एडवांस रेगुलेटरी अथॉरिटी जो कि यानी ये तो रेफरेंस अथॉरिटीज वाला कंपोनेंट है वो है. सेकंड है जो कि सेमी रेगुलेटरी अथॉरिटी और अबव दैट जिसमें पाकिस्तान भी फॉल करता है वो हमारे डोजियर को एक्सेप्ट करता है. तो इसमें
सियालकोट की जो इंडस्ट्री है वो आपने कहा कि रेगुलेटरी अभी नहीं आ रही उसकी क्या वजह
उसकी वजह ये है that internationally medical devices have been categorized in 4 classes A, B, C, D. दुनिया में there is no country in the world who have regulated all these 4 classes. Medical devices की जो regulation है that has been started about 6, 7, 10 years back. C and D are the most life-saving devices, like starting cardiac stents, all type of stents, and all these things, diagnostics. These come under this category. So C and D वो जो इंडस्ट्री है सियालकोट वाली वो ट्रंक रिट्रेसर है और इस तरह की चीजें जो क्लास ए में फॉल करती हैं तो इट विल टेक सम टाइम कि वो इसमें आए. एक बात. सेकंड जो बात इंपॉर्टेंट है कि इंडस्ट्री स्टिल वांट्स के जी हमें रेगुलेटरी एम्बेड में लाया जाए. अदरवाइज अगर देखा जाए तो इन आवर अंडरस्टैंडिंग when anything comes in the regulatory embed, at the same time there are some restrictions, but on the other hand quality are always improved. Exports potential बढ़ता है. Now they are saying they क्या करें? Why? When they export to Europe and America, they require various certification from the regulatory authority. So now it will take 2, 3, 4 years.
उनकी रेगुलेशन जो है वो उनकी अपने बिजनेस को एनहांस करेगी.
Exactly.
फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वंडरफुल प्रेजेंटेशन. बहुत अच्छा लगा आपने सब कुछ बताया. ग्रैब का जनरल पब्लिक में जो आम कंसेप्ट है वो ये है कि ये सिर्फ ऐसी अथॉरिटी है जो कि हमारी दवाइयों की प्राइसेस को रेगुलेट करती है और जो न्यू मेडिसिन आती हैं उनको चेक करती है कि है. आपने कोर प्रिंसिपल्स बताए, मिशन बताया, वहाँ पे अफोर्डेबल मेडिसिन थी, एक्सेस ऑफ मेडिसिन थी, लेकिन एक ए था जो मुझे थोड़ा सा मिसिंग लगा वो था अवेयरनेस का. जनरल पब्लिक में ना ड्रैग की अवेयरनेस है, ना आपकी मेडिसिन की उस तरह अवेयरनेस है, ना ही आप फिजिशियन के पास या डॉक्टर्स के पास इतना टाइम होता है कि वो इतने एक्सटेंसिव जो है इंफॉर्मेटरी सर्च करते हैं अपने पेशेंट्स के साथ कि वो ये प्रोवाइड करें. तो आई थिंक कि ये समवट ड्रैग की भी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है क्योंकि आप अगर अपने काउंटर पार्ट्स यूएस में देखें, कनाडा में देखें तो वो ऐसे अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम बिल्कुल चलाते हैं जिनसे वो अपनी जनरल पब्लिक को इस बारे में अवेयर करते हैं कि वो कैसे मेडिसिन का एक्सेस यूज, जैसे सर ने भी बताया रेजिस्टेंस के, और ये बहुत बड़ा मसला है. यहाँ पे मैं एमफिल स्कॉलर हूँ, माइक्रोबायोलॉजिस्ट हूँ, बेसिकली मेरी फील्ड से भी डायरेक्टली रिलेटेड है. पाकिस्तान इस टाइम के ऊपर एक एंटीबायोटिक एपोकलिप्स के रेजिस्टेंस के एपोकलिप्स की वर्ज पे खड़ा हुआ है. बाय 2050 बल्कि उससे पहले भी हमारे पास इतना हो सकता है कि इवन एक कॉमन फ्लू जो है उसकी वजह से यहाँ पे कोविड जितनी जो है तो हमारे पास वो आ जाए. तो अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम क्या ड्रैग की इस रेगुलेशन पर
राइट अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम उस लेवल पे नहीं करते जिस लेवल पे हमें करना चाहिए. बट अगर आप ये देखें लास्ट आजकल अवेयरनेस के सेशन में तो सोशल मीडिया इज दी प्रायोरिटी मीडिया. सो वी हैव ट्राइड इन आवर लास्ट एंटी AMR अवेयरनेस दैट वी शुड डू दिस, बट इंशाल्लाह फ्यूचर में हम इसको ज्यादा फोकस होके करते हैं. बल्कि जैसे हम अपना स्ट्रेटेजिक प्रायोरिटीज चेंज कर रहे हैं उसमें अवेयरनेस को शामिल करना चाहिए. हम ट्विटर फेसबुक वगैरह है लेकिन उस तरीके से हम एग्रेसिव नहीं कर पाते. जैसे फार्माकोविजिलेंस ADR रिपोर्टिंग है, हम एट टाइम सोचते हैं कि हमें बड़ा विगरसली इसको फॉलो करना चाहिए जो हम नहीं कर पा रहे. शायद उसके एक फैक्टर HR करना होना भी हमारे पास है.
और सर दूसरी चीज जैसे आप बता रहे थे कि हमारे पास जो फार्मास्यूटिकल इंडस्ट्रीज हैं जो यानी कि इस टाइम पे एक्टिव बना रही हैं वो हंड्रेड्स में, लेकिन सर ने पहले बताया कि हमारे पास टॉप 10 ऐसी हैं जिन्होंने 50% ऑफ मोनोपोली रखी हुई है, या कुछ शायद इंडस्ट्री के लोग मेरी इस बात से करें तो ये मैनिपुलाइज किया हुआ है. तो जो नए आपके पास फार्मास्यूटिकल इंडस्ट्रीज आती है उनको बहुत हर्डल्स है. उनको बड़े मसाइल होते हैं अपनी प्रोडक्ट को इनके मुकाबले में क्या इवन की जनरल पब्लिक तक लॉन्च करने में। फिर दूसरी बात ये है कि फॉरेन में आप अक्सर देखते हैं वहां पे कभी भी आपके पास ब्रांड की प्रोडक्ट का नाम मेडिसिन में नहीं देता,
जेनेरिक वाला
जेनरिक देते हैं।
चलिए डॉक्टर का पहला पॉइंट है अगर एक साइड पे सैमसंग का फोन है, दूसरे साइड पे कोई और कंपनी लॉन्च होगी, आप किसको प्रेफर करेंगे?
सैमसंग को।
क्यों
लेकिन
prefer
सर सैमसंग को वहां तक आने में उन्होंने भी तो काम
तो
किया है।
सेम अप्लाइज विद द फार्मास्यूटिकल एज वेल ना। हमें एक चीज ध्यान में रखनी चाहिए, फार्मास्यूटिकल ज्यादा कमोडिटीज जिसका एक कमर्शियल इम्पैक्ट है, तो जो मैन्युफैक्चरर है, जो मार्केटियर है, वो अपने कमर्शियल यानी उसकी प्रमोशन, ब्रांड एस्टेब्लिशमेंट तो उस तरीके से करता है।
सर वही बात है
तो
ना कि
ब्रांडिंग इज इम्पोर्टेंट।
अगर जनरल में हमारे पास ट्रैप की तरफ से ही रेगुलेशन होगी, अवेयरनेस होगी, तो आपको नहीं लगता कि जो न्यू इंडस्ट्रीज हैं
लेकिन हम किसी के प्रोडक्ट को तो प्रमोट नहीं कर पाएंगे।
प्रोडक्ट जनरल में
बिल्कुल ऐसे ही।
Any other questions? We'll take them in the break if that's okay.
जी उस्मान।
Okay, last one, sir.
को-
जी जी sir.
डॉक्टर शीर साहब ने बहुत वर्किंग की एथिकल मार्केटिंग के ऊपर और सेम टाइम एचओटीसी के अंदर भी बहुत सारी चीजों को रेगुलेट किया गया। तो एक क्वेश्चन अभी सोशल मीडिया के बारे में बात हो रही थी, देयर आर सर्टेन आइटम जो कि जब आप किसी कंपाउंडिंग में लेके कंपटीशन में लेके जाते हैं तो उसके ऊपर हमारे पैरामीटर आ जाते हैं, और उसमें बहुत सारी चीजें ऐसी भी हैं कि जब आप एचओटीसी में जाते हैं और फिर रजिस्टर करवाने के लिए तो वो बिल्कुल उन्होंने उनको बैन किया कि इसमें कोई बात होगी भी नहीं। लेकिन सोशल मीडिया के ऊपर वही चीजें सिंगल कंपाउंड के तौर पे मार्केट भी हो रही हैं, बेहतर ब्रांडिंग के साथ हो रही हैं और लोगों को परचेज भी कराना। तो ये दोनों बहुत बड़ा है जो खुला बाजार भी होता है।
आपने बिल्कुल राइटली पॉइंट आउट किया। इस वक्त जो एडवर्टाइजमेंट का हमारा लॉ है दैट ओनली रेगुलेट्स इलेक्ट्रॉनिक एंड प्रिंट मीडिया, वो सोशल मीडिया को रेगुलेट नहीं करता। उसके लिए एडवर्टाइजमेंट के लॉ की अमेंडमेंट प्रोपोज की हुई है। वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग कि अल्लाह करे इस गवर्नमेंट में हो जाए 20 दिनों में, उसमें इलेक्ट्रॉनिक सोशल तमाम मीडिया कवर्ड है और इंक्लूडिंग एडवर्टाइजमेंट प्रोडक्ट भी कवर्ड है।
Thank you, sir. That marks the end of the technical session. Finally, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Wase to give the concluding statement for this seminar.
Well, thank you all for being here. You all agree that this is an extremely important issue, and not only for us, for our people and for our country and for a lot of other countries. Now, this is the first time we have organized this. The first time I have seen so many people relevant to this kind of discussion have been together, but this should not be the last session. So we should have a series of discussions or roundtable conferences or seminars working in the direction. Even in the country, we need a better collaboration between the doctors, academia, the regulatory authorities, industry, and the policy makers. I think most important is the policy makers. You cannot go forward with these alone unless you have Ministry of Finance on your back or Ministry of Health on your back. The government makes policies. Until you have the government making the right policy and government showing the will that they want to change the environment, DREP itself, your doctors or academia, they cannot change much. So this is the key. Hopefully, we will continue to work together with the Ministry of Finance. We have also invited Ministry of Food because that's also a very important area related to health, so they could not come here today. And we also invited alternative medicine expert, Dr. Anwar Gilani was supposed to be here. That's also a very important area related to healthcare. So hopefully we will continue to work together, and I'm really glad and I appreciate that Abdul Rashid Saab is here at Comstech. He knows everyone and he knows all the bits and pieces of relevant personalities. So first of all, we need to work together in Pakistan to improve our healthcare and our industry standards and our regulatory standards and our quality of life in Pakistan. And not only that, we have to work with the other OIC countries to learn from them and to teach some of the countries which are not as capable as we are. So hopefully this is a great start for a great work. And this is something which hopefully will translate into a lot of actions in future. So maybe in next 5-6 months, when we do organize 2 or 3 or 4 seminars and interactive meetings, we are already working on combining drug regulatory authorities of all OIC countries and something like that. So hopefully this will translate, and just you are all relevant person. I think the most important is you which are here and just keep connected with us, and we are still interested in learning from your experiences, your suggestions, your comments and everything. So you can tell me or Dr. Rashid that what we should, we are open for suggestions and comments, and hopefully this will continue, and hopefully we will get to a place where we can all involve all the stakeholders to improve access to healthcare and improve healthcare in Pakistan and across OIC countries and across the world. So again, thank you all very much.
Thank you very much to all the resource persons and the participants for being here today. We'll invite you all 6th floor for a group photo, and then we'll have lunch in the same tea room. So if you can follow my colleagues there, we'll take you upstairs to the 6th floor. You'll see our beautiful roof garden and take our group photo over there. Rashid sir.